Kamen Rider Gaim was a smash hit with critics and fans alike, which is great, but that can make the next season difficult to follow up on. What can possibly air right after Fruit Jesus saving the destruction of Japan? Cars, and an event that the world stopped for.
We start 12 hours before a global freeze. 2 cops are staking out to wait for something. One of the cops, Shinnosuke Tamari, has a nightmare about an explosion and not being able to move. His partner, Akira Hayase, reminds him that they're after a terrorist group called Neo Shade. This organization may have chosen a generic word like Shade, but this season has so many references to past series and other shows that I'm gonna believe that Neo Shade is a reference to Kamen Rider G. 10 hours left. Someone is being held for ransom and is being broadcasted. Shinnosuke notices a mirror that is showing the reflection of someone they call the copycat pirate. Shinnosuke tightens his tie and says that his brain is in top gear. 6 hours left. Hayase confronts the pirate, distracting him long enough for Shinnosuke to make a move. A wrench is accidentally dropped by Shinnosuke, but Hayase drops his own gun to mask the sound. Shinnosuke fights the pirate and unmasks him. It's Nishihori Koya, a famous criminal psychologist. Nishihori's motive was to prove himself to be smarter than any human. A monster attacks before Shinnosuke is able to cuff him, so Nishihori escapes with Shinnosuke following. 4 hours remain. A tiny purple car sees Nishihori slowing down. The monster likes Nishihori's criminal intent, so the monster copies him. The purple car flies into the hand of a masked vigilante, who then proceeds to fight the monster. This is Kamen Rider Proto Drive. The suit certainly looks like a prototype as the colors aren't fully done yet and it appears to be missing parts. Proto Drive defeats the monster and takes its core. Shinnosuke finds Nishihori and arrests him. 10 minutes remain. A young woman is helping people evacuate. 5 seconds. Everything starts slowing down and monsters begin to rampage. This slowdown happens around the world, so this event is called a global freeze. Shinnosuke has a standoff against members of Neo Shade and tries to save Hayase. Shinnosuke stumbles due to the slowdown and misses, causing steel pipes to fall on Hayase. Meanwhile, Proto Drive is on his own to help people during the global freeze. And all this wasn't even episode 1. This is technically episode 0, and I'm not calling it that for clarity. This special is literally called episode 0, and it's a great start to the show. I do know that there are people who like to watch Toku seasons in chronological order, so starting with episode 0 is great. I won't get into details now, of course, but episode 0 gives a lot of backstory and has a good taste of what's to come. Now we start with episode 1. Why did my time stop? Episode titles for this season are in a question, such as, why did my time stop? So I'm just letting you know now. The opening of this episode shows a global freeze and the incident with Shinnosuke and Hayase. Colorful toy cars fight off monsters with the help of Proto Drive. Choo theme song. It's a fantastic song and one of my personal favorites. It's so upbeat and fun that I can't help but know that the show we're going to watch is going to be even better. It's also sung by Kamen Rider Eternal himself, Mitsuru Matsuoka. Already a Kamen Rider Drive and I still can't pronounce things right. Half a year later, we're properly introduced to Shinnosuke Tamari, a police officer who drives a really gaudy car. He's laying down relaxing until he's handcuffed by this woman, Kiriko Shijima. She knows that Shinnosuke loves to slack off at this park to avoid work. The two go back to their department, which is located in a licensing center. The part of the Special Cases unit, which is run by Chief Jun, a networking nerd Q, and their physicist, Rina. The unit finally has a case to work on. There have been reports of slowdown by someone named Genpachira Ota, a police lieutenant that apparently isn't very good at his job, so he's stuffed in with the rest of the Special Cases unit. Shinnosuke thinks about moving forward from the past when a belt on his car starts talking. The belt has been persistent in wanting Shinnosuke to finally do some work. He was even given the car in job position. Somehow. The belt attaches himself to Shinnosuke as Kiriko says to hurry up to the scene. To Lieutenant Oda's dismay, Shinnosuke and Kiriko arrive wearing weird machines which allow them to detect any slowdown, or heaviness, particles. Shinnosuke is grabbed by a monster, but then the talking belt summons some colorful cars that aren't affected by the slowdown. Oda doesn't believe in slowdown, so Shinnosuke tries to prove him wrong. Shinnosuke straightens his tie. Kiriko explains that whenever Shinnosuke does that, it means his brain is in top gear, or rather, he has a lead on what to do. Shinnosuke finds the culprit of their case that I didn't talk about. Then slowdown happens. The belt summons a car that attaches itself to Shinnosuke, which leaves him unaffected by the slowdown. Shinnosuke is attacked by more monsters, but Kiriko arrives in time to help. Kiriko knows about Shinnosuke's talking belt and tells him to hurry. Shinnosuke is confused, but the belt just says to transform. Shinnosuke is given a brace and a red toy car. The belt gives him an inspirational speech, and then...
Hitting!
Drive! Type! Speed!
This is the titular Kamen Rider Drive.
Can I be called a Kamen Rider? I don't ride, I drive.
Why don't you just call yourself Kamen Driver?
That is perfect!
Oh my god, I was kidding!
What I said about Proto Drive can be said here, but now Drive is more complete and has a red color scheme. It's a nice suit, even if I still think that the chest, tire, and spoiler in the helmet are a bit off-putting. I don't mind them as much now, but they did need a bit of time for me to get used to. The gimmick for this season are toy cars called shift cars. It sounds like I'm swearing, but it says shift. They're cute and fun to play with, I know from experience. Each shift car has a different type that Kamen Rider Drive can use.
His base form is Type Speed, but by using the Max Flare shift car, Shinnosuke can tire change, which gives him a new tire for his chest.
I like the sounds and the voice for the gimmicks. As for the belt design, it's strange. I'm not sure if I like the slanted style and the literal seat belt, but at the same time, I love how cars and engines are fully emphasized. Though I can't quite say I like the rider machine for this season. For the first time in a long time, the rider machine isn't a bike, but rather a car. I just wish it didn't look so jarring and gaudy. I think it's the wheels in the back that bothered me the most. And finally, the rider kick is absolutely amazing. It's one of my most favorite rider kicks ever. Too bad it's not used much. After the fight, Kiriko introduces Shinnosuke to their real base of commands called the Drive Pit. It's hidden underneath the licensing center. Kiriko has been working as an agent for the belt, so she and Shinnosuke have to work together with who Shinnosuke now calls Mr. Belt, to defeat the monsters known as Roimutes. And this ends episode 1. Now here's where things get a bit weird for the video. The early episodes of Kamen Rider Drive are very episodic, and there's a reason for that. Toys. Me calling the shift cars colorful toys wasn't a joke. They're gimmicks that are pushed for toy sales. I'm not saying it's a bad or good thing, just stating a fact. Despite being episodic, these early Drive episodes are still good. When toys aren't being shilled, we see investigations that the Special Cases Department takes on. They're very character driven while pushing aside a continuing story. You may be thinking that early Drive probably means only a couple of episodes, maybe 4 or 5, but nope, when I say early Drive, I mean it takes 12 episodes to move the plot forward. Somewhat. We get slivers of backstory and build-up, but for the most part, the story takes a back seat while characters and toys are being pushed. I'll get more in depth towards the end, of course, but for now, let's talk about the villains for a bit. I haven't talked about the Roimutes much because there isn't much to say early on, aside from who they are. There are 2 commanders, Heart and Brain. Heart is their main leader who led the Roimute attack during the global freeze. They're able to achieve evolved forms, which honestly look pretty cool. Their main goal is to gather the promised numbers and have all the Roimutes achieve evolution. Yes, they're numbered. There are 108 Roimutes in total. If there's a limited number, then I feel kind of bad if I call them mooks. The basic Roimute design is alright. I don't have much of an opinion on them, but I do like that there is more than one head design for them. The commanders also have a pseudo-rider called Machine Chaser. His civilian form is named Chase. The Machine Chaser suit is really cool. I love how it looks cobbled together but still being shiny. Machine Chaser technically isn't a rider, but he can transform using the brake gunner. Another cool looking henshin device with one of my favorite henshin voices. Similar to Drive, Chase has his own car gimmick called Toon Chasers that power him up. Machine Chaser is known as the emotionless Grim Reaper that executes Roimutes that have gone rogue. The Roimutes want to evolve. How they achieve evolution can be done several ways. Some feed into the desire of humans by force, others work together with humans, but some go against the Roimute way, which is where Chase comes in. Heart hears that Kamen Rider Drive is fighting the Roimutes, so Chase is tasked to fight Drive. What makes Roimutes more interesting is that Mr. Belt is somehow linked to them. I'll talk more about it once we get there. Dang, I talked about the Roimutes more than I thought I would. To move forward, I'm going to bring this up now, but Kamen Rider Drive has a lot of specials, movies, and extras. Episode 0 was just the start, but between episodes 4 and 5, we have Type Televikun. Normally, I'd go into detail and explain what happens, but there's not much to say about it. I'm going to keep saying this, but even if there's not a lot to say, Drive is still good. Just keep that in mind. Type Televikun starts with the shift cars getting into a cute argument over a traffic accident. Then Shinnosuke hears a case about a thief named Ultimate Lupin. The culprit is Nishihori again, but he's a Roimute this time. Type Telephone showcases an exclusive attack combination of Justice Hunter and Massive Monster. It ends with Shinnosuke wondering where the real Ultimate Lupin is. See, not a lot to say, but it is entertaining to watch. Episode 5 has Mr. Belt tell Shinnosuke about a new body that's been in development. A new form called Type Wild. Shinnosuke investigates a case where he runs into Chase and Brain. Mr. Belt says that Chase was created using the same technology as Proto Drive. Mr. Belt also recognizes who Brain is. Shinnosuke tries to use Type Wild, but he doesn't have the right amount of passion to use it. He barely makes it out with the help of Mad Doctor, a medical type of shift card that heals Shinnosuke by very painful means. Earlier exposition told us that certain shift cards are in their own investigations, so we sometimes get literal Deus Ex Machinas. Deeper into the investigation while fighting Chase, Shinnosuke gets a passion from his friends to transform into Drive Type Wild. I think the suit is okay. The tire being on the shoulder rather than the chest is better, and the armor on top of the silver undersuit doesn't look too bad. But I wish there was more to the backside of the suit instead of just pure flat silver. Getting a new drive form also gives Shinnosuke's car, the Trideron, its own new form, which I have no opinion on. During the fight, Shinnosuke tries to summon his weapon, but nothing happens. Then Rina comes out of nowhere with it. After the fight, Mr. Belt reveals that Rina's been secretly working as Drive's weapon developer. Shinnosuke hates how many secrets Mr. Belt has been keeping. Mr. Belt introduces Shinnosuke to some new toys in episode 9, including a new form, Type Technic. Type Wild required a lot of fiery passion, but Technic needs a cool and calm body. Shinnosuke investigates a new case that involves that meme guy from Kamen Rider Double, who is holding a kid hostage. Seeing this angers Shinnosuke to the point of being more cold and level-headed. Somehow. Then Shinnosuke transforms into Type Technic. Technic is above average, and I'm saying that because green is my favorite color, so I have an automatic bias, but I do like how the tire is horizontal instead of slanted. That's really all I can say, but I love how Type Technic's attribute is to be a master of technology and can see what's around him. The Trideron also gets its own Type Technic, and I still have no opinion on it. Shinnosuke defeats Meme Man and saves the day. On a distant planet, we see Fruit Jesus standing by a waterfall. Then a giant mechanical thing drops in and attacks, kidnapping Mai. An alien says that this planet will become part of Megahex. Kota Kazuraba chases after the alien, heading to Earth. We've entered our crossover film, Drive and Gaim, Movie War Full Throttle. Starting with Gaim's portion, advance to the last stage. Kota's power is taken away from the Megahex alien as everyone watches from below. Megahex spreads and Michi fights off Kurokage troopers that were created from the alien. The alien then recreates Professor Ryoma, now with a stylish face mask and a new form, Dragon Fruit Energy Arms. I like Ryoma's lemon energy suit, so I do like the Dragon Fruit arms, though the red and blue really mix together pretty well. Ryoma overpowers Michi. It seems like all hope is lost. Michi gets a vision of Mai telling him that she's inside Megahex's invasion weapon. Before parting, she creates a Helheim fruit. Michi had a leftover Sengoku driver from the clone Kurokage trooper from earlier, and gives it to Takatora, his brother. He grabs a Helheim fruit, which becomes a melon lockseed. Michi and Takatora walk towards the Megahex mechanism and are stopped by Ryoma. Michi runs to save Mai and Takatora defeats Ryoma, seeing that Ryoma was just a robot with a leftover Genesis driver. The Megahex alien absorbs Kota's Kiwami Lockseed, upgrading his chest to be yellow. Michi arrives in time to throw Takatora the Melon Energy Lockseed. Takatora uses Robo Ryoma's driver to transform. By the way, helmetless shots are so cool. Takatora grabs hold of the alien and yells at Michi to shoot. It's a serious scene that gets ruined by the sound of Budo sparking. Ugh, whatever, I said my piece about that during Wizard. Michi shoots. It seems like he failed, but Takatora holds onto the Kiwami Lockseed. Somehow. The alien shoots a powerful blast, but Mai, Michi, and Takatora are able to open the Kiwami Lockseed with the power of friendship, bringing back Kota. Somehow. They defeat the alien, but he appears again. And again. And again. Kota looks up to the sky and sees a floating hexagon. It's planet Megahex. The aliens fly away, and that ends Gaim's portion. Shinnosuke narrates about how he's been tracking down a thief who calls himself Ultimate Lupin. A gentleman in white causes slowdown. He tries to escape, but Shinnosuke catches up. The gentleman is Ultimate Lupin himself, and he's a Roimute. Mr. Belt notices something about Lupin's body. This begins Drive's portion, a challenge from Lupin. The next day, a challenge is set from Lupin. The Special Cases Department is sent to protect the statue that Lupin has his eyes on. Shinnosuke chases Lupin during the transport, then a car falls from the sky. Don't you just hate when cars do that during traffic hour? Mr. Belt leads Shinnosuke to where he thinks Lupin is hiding. A castle. Inside, Shinnosuke opens a box that has controls to a certain Roymude's body. One for Roymude ZZZ, or Triple Z, Lupin's body. Lupin explains that Mr. Belt used to be a scientist. 15 years ago, Mr. Belt was killed by a Roymude. Before that happened, he planned to transfer himself into Roymude Triple Z's body. But Mr. Belt wasn't mentally strong enough, so he transferred himself into a belt instead. Half a year ago, Lupin found this castle in the body, so he stole it. At one point, Lupin wanted to be a hero like a Kamen Rider, but he saw that Mr. Belt was a literal belt and Shinnosuke was too much of a greenhorn. Lupin got enraged over that. Chase appears to say that Lupin is still human, but used Roymude data to become powerful. Lupin even copied data from the brake gunner. Chase wants to execute him for using Roymude technology. Lupin then uses the modified brake gunner to become Kamen Rider Lupin. I love this suit. I know, I said that the Trideron is gaudy, but Lupin is cool. I really like the thief motif and the jewels on the suit. The Lupin gunner has one of my favorite henshin sounds ever.
Rupon!
It's so gentlemanly along with the suit. Kamen Rider Lupin is great. Don't at me. Then Mr. Belt dies. Or something like that. I'm sure he's actually dead despite this movie being early on in the Drive timeline. Right, guys? At the Drive pit, we get a quick glimpse of what looks like a white Kamen Rider. The Special Cases unit gets a call from Shinnosuke saying that he's cornered Lupin. They all go to the meeting place, but it was a trap. From Shinnosuke. He says that Lupin can only be one of them. It was you, Kiriko. She never smiles, so it was strange to see her smile while cheering up Shinnosuke after Mr. Belt broke. Lupin is revealed. He goes onto this weird balloon thing with no basket. The real Kiriko is tied up to a building and will fall if Shinnosuke goes after him. Shinnosuke goes after Lupin. Then Shinnosuke falls off the weird balloon thing's platform. Kiriko falls. With the power of friendship, Shinnosuke activates Mr. Belt. And I admit that this clip of the shift cars mimicking the Drive standby is pretty awesome. The Trideron saves Kiriko while Shinnosuke does his cool rider kick on Lupin, leaving the Roymude body on the ground. Once that's over, we get another glimpse of the white Kamen Rider. Wonder who he is. A Megahex alien lands to absorb Lupin's Roymude body, leading to Drive Cross Gaim, Movie Wars Full Throttle. It starts with a bit of banter between Shinnosuke and Kota.
なんだあんたたい焼きかけて俺は仮面ライダーガイメ今は宇宙の神様か
神様話はさっぱりだがいいやつっぽいことだけは
The Megahex aliens summon a familiar face, Kaito. He transforms and fights the alien instead. All the riders stand together to pose for a cool wallpaper shot. Heart, Chase, and Brain fight the Megahex as well, because Megahex is about becoming one while the Roymudes are about individualism, so Megahex clashes with Heart's idealism. Yeah, I don't know where this came from either. Mai tells Shinnosuke and Kota to share their powers with each other. They enter a dimensional plane. Kota gets Drive arms and Shinnosuke gets Type fruits. Legend Rider arms have always been weird to me, and Drive arms is no different. Type fruits is funny, and I like the samurai slash fruit motif. Shinnosuke and Kota need to fly using the Tridon to destroy the Megahex planet. They fly towards a planet in a gigantic CGI scene, and distract a flying fruit bat car with orange juice. Then they rider kick the planet. Man, I love Toku. With the planet destroyed, all the recreated Roymudes and Invest stop moving, including Kaito. Shinnosuke and Kota shake hands. Kota and Mai are about to leave without saying their goodbyes, but Kota's friends stop in just in time. Farewell, Space Jesus. Shinnosuke wonders if this is the last time they'll see Lupin, when Lupin appears to say that he still has Kiriko's smile. Shinnosuke says that Kiriko has always been unsociable. Too bad she was standing behind Shinnosuke to hear it. The ending theme to the movie is one of my favorites. Alright, I'm probably Gaim fanboy number 3, but even I gotta say that Advance to the Last Stage was a bit of a miss. It's not bad. In fact, it's one of my favorite crossover portions, but I don't think we needed to focus on Michi. He already had a redemption at the end of Gaim, so doing it again just seems like a cop-out of not knowing what to do. I'd rather have a focus on literally anyone else. Yes, we had V-Cinemas, but I still would want to see something different. Again, this portion isn't bad, I just wish there was something, well, different. We did get to see Zack and the gang for a bit, so I guess that's okay. Although Michi's redemption here isn't too bad. I might even say it's better than the end of Gaim. Michi does everything he can to save Mai and fight off Ryoma. The scene with Takatora holding onto the alien had a lot of emotion put into it, despite feeling a tiny bit rushed. Did I also mention how cool the helmetless Takatora shot was? Because it was really cool. A challenge from Lupin is a fun ride. A bit of Mr. Belt being a human scientist was skimmed over in the show, so it's not exactly movie exclusive exposition, but it did give us a bit more backstory. Kamen Rider Lupin is still cool, don't at me. This movie was great and was entertaining all the way through. I've probably praised it enough as it is, so let's continue with Kamen Rider Drive episode 10, What's in the Belt's Past. It's the holiday season and Shinnosuke is feeling down. His birthday is on Christmas Eve, so he usually gets one present to count for both his birthday and Christmas. ProtoDubs sympathizes. During a fight with Chase, Shinnosuke meets Hart and Mr. Belt is afraid. Rina explains that Mr. Belt used to be a human scientist named Krim Steinbelt. Hart was the one that killed Krim. The Roimeeds were created by Krim's best friend, Professor Bono. Krim gave Bono a drive core that would help with development, fully knowing that it would cause a gravity surge if used. In a way, Krim Steinbelt helped create a monster. Shinnosuke tries to lighten the mood by snickering at the last name Steinbelt. Guess saying Mr. Belt wasn't too far off. Shinnosuke goes to Krim's old residence. 15 years ago, Roimeed 001, 002, and 003 rebelled and killed Bono. Then they killed Krim. Fortunately, Krim had a backup plan for his consciousness to be transferred to a belt and had a prototype Kamen Rider Drive ready. They're about to leave Krim's residence when Hart stops them and fights. Hart is a charismatic leader and seems to be passionate about his mission. Maybe even more so than Shinnosuke. Hart thinks of each Roimeed as his friend, so he's saddened that Drive had to kill many of his friends. Hart transforms into his evolved form and enters the Dead Zone, a surpassed power that would destroy everything in Hart's way. Luckily, Chase tells Hart to knock it off. I'm not going to go into the case for episode 11, but I'm going to mention that Nishihori is brought up, which is a nice continuity nod to the specials. Meme Man from the previous episode was tasked to have a lot of electrical power so Hart could awaken a new Roimeed commander, a medic named Medic. At the end of the episode, Shinnosuke goes to a nice restaurant with Kiriko. It seems nice until everyone from the Special Cases department surprises Shinnosuke. This dinner is not only for Shinnosuke's birthday and Christmas, but it's also the department's New Year's party. Episode 12. Where did that white Kamen Rider come from? I wonder what white Kamen Rider they're talking about. There's been a murder. Lieutenant Ota thinks that a Roimeed is the culprit, but the entire room laughs at him since they don't believe in Roimeeds or Kamen Riders. The other officers say that Ota has been hanging out with the rejects at the Special Cases unit too much. The unit is such an embarrassment to the force that they were banished to the licensing department. Ota is angry and wants to prove the others wrong. So he takes Shinnosuke to the crime scene where someone is taking a picture of him. The cameraman challenges Shinnosuke to find the real culprit before he does. Later in the investigation, Ota corners a suspect and Shinnosuke is about to reveal what really went on in the case, until our cameraman friend literally knocks away Shinnosuke's thoughts. A Roimeed appears, so Shinnosuke fights. Then Kiriko arrives because someone told her to be there. They both hear someone speaking English.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Superstar Action!
Krim notices a shift car that's supposed to be in America. Our camera guy shows off and lands on the stage. He transforms into Kamen Rider Mach, probably my favorite suit of this season. Might as well call him Kamen Rider Speed Racer, although the red and white color scheme is fantastic. Mach doesn't use shift cars, he uses signal bikes, but they're pretty much the same thing. I haven't said this before, but Kamen Rider's Drive's driver is called the Drive Driver. Mach's driver is called the Mach Driver Hono. The Drive Driver makes announcements in English, while the Mach Driver makes announcements in Japanese. I do like the jingles for both drivers, but I'm not much of a fan of the Mach Driver's voice. It's more of a nitpick really, because I still get excited to hear Maha. Another thing I haven't brought up were the insert themes with this season, mostly because they blend into the background maybe a little too well. Mach's theme though? I love it. After the fight, Mach lifts up his visor, another cool detail of the suit. The Roimeed's core falls into a woman's hand. Krim recognizes her as Medic, one of the Roimeed commanders. She leaves and Mach dehensions. He runs to Kiriko, who calls him Go. Krim says that Go is Kiriko's brother from America. leaving Shinnosuke stunned. In the next episode, Krim gets off the phone with an old American colleague, Professor Harley Hendrickson. Go was training in America but left early. Mach is complete, but dangerous, as it was developed to be the next system to surpass Drive. Kiriko is naturally upset that Krim made her brother a Kamen Rider without telling her. Shinnosuke tries to calm her down while Go sees them as a cute couple. They both get flustered. Go decides to call Shinnosuke his brother, or Shen Nisan. Go is eventually given a warm welcome to the Special Cases unit. Then Krim gives more exposition. The Mach driver has an AI instead of a pseudo-Krim, but it means that Mach leaves a greater strain on the user. Professor Harley was building a way to reduce the strain, so Krim wonders why Go didn't wait for the technology to be complete. It turns out that Go had a plan to stop certain Roimys from attacking, which forced Go to end his training early. By the end of episode 13, Shinnosuke begins to accept Go, allowing him to call him the older brother. We then have our next special, Type High Speed. Shinnosuke and Kiriko investigate a warehouse where Kiriko finds a box of bootleg Televicoon magazines. How meta. A Roimyd, with the ability to copy things, finds them and copies Drive.
Drive! Type speed!
Back at the Drive pit, Go has pictures of the fake Drive doing small crimes. Kiriko says that even a fake violin can have quality, which gives Shinnosuke an idea to create a luxury-style car for Drive. Rina was already ahead of Shinnosuke and upgrades Shinnosuke's shift car into a new toy called High Speed. A mustached Kiriko stops the fake Drive from selling more bootleg Televicoon issues. Shinnosuke coolly steps out of a fancy car and transforms into Drive, Type High Speed. Krim explains how cool High Speed is, and I agree. That suit is cool. Go arrives to say his catchphrase out of suit.
Kamen Rider Maha!
Max Flare also gets an upgrade and becomes Mega Max Flare. Shinnosuke defeats the fake Drive by using full throttle Televicoon. Somehow, yeah, you get it by now. After the fight, Go jokingly asks if he can use the shift card to become Type High Mach. Rina says that nothing about Drive changed, aside from the colors. A change in appearance just gave Shinnosuke a confidence boost. Episode 14 has another filler case, but one with a big revelation. Chase and Go's bike are able to combine. I won't even say somehow, because Brain reveals that Chase is actually Proto Zero. Chase was the one that defended the city during the global freeze. He's the one that saved Kiriko that day. Chase was Kamen Rider Proto Drive. Krim knows it to be true because the Ride Crosser, the combination of Chase and Go's bike, were meant for both systems. Go doesn't care. He wants all Roimys to be eradicated, including Chase. The next episode has Krim ask Rina if the new shift car from Professor Harley is done yet, but Rina seems to be in a hurry. She did finish making boots for Kiriko. I'm sure Kiriko is gonna use these so much. Krim would rather have Rina finish the car, called Dead Heat, than finish the boots. Shinnosuke and Kiriko investigate a case that leads them to Lover's Castle. Here, they find out why Rina was in a hurry. Lover's Castle is an event for blind dates, and Rina's a bit of a hopeless romantic. Kiriko follows a voice, where she sees Chase. He's actually the Roimyd of the week that has the ability to become the man that a woman wants. Go and Shinnosuke fight this Roimyd, but Heart joins the kerfuffle, forcing Shinnosuke to call for Dead Heat. It was created to combat Heart's ability to reach the dead zone. This suit is awesome. As you can tell, Dead Heat is a combination of Drive and Mach. Both of the color schemes work with each other, even if there's maybe a bit too much red from Drive. The helmet impresses me on how the spoiler can work with Mach's bottom half. The Henshin jingle is also one of my favorites of the season. Shinnosuke defeats the Roimyds and knocks out Heart, but Shinnosuke's meter maxes out and his tire turns red. Shinnosuke goes out of control but snaps out of it by Go's finisher. Meanwhile, Chase is being reprogrammed. Medic couldn't change Chase's basic programming, so she changed Chase's objective of protecting humans to protecting Roimyds. Brain has been a bit jealous of Medic since she arrived, constantly one-upping him. Later in the Lover's Castle investigation, Shinnosuke and Go fight Roimyds. Then we hear someone.
Hey, Mr. Shinnosuke, go!
This eccentric man tells Shinnosuke and Go that shift Dead Heat is finished. It's Professor Harley, who came all the way from America. Go uses a completed card to become Mach Dead Heat. What I feel about Drive Dead Heat is similar to how I feel about Mach Dead Heat, except for one thing. That freaking spoiler is used for the mouth. That looks awful and out of place. But that's it. Back to normal. Professor Harley was on a sidecar tour, so he didn't mean to stay long. Before leaving, he gives Rena a present. The Special Cases Department investigates a case where 5 people were murdered at the same time. The only lead Oda has is a picture of Chase. Shinnosuke fights, but Chase is more powered up than before. He's able to use a bigger density shift and takes temporary control of the other shift cars. Shinnosuke yells at Chase to snap out of it, or else a nearby Kiriko would become collateral damage. Chase hesitates but still has his weapon raised. Krim has no other choice but to summon a shift car that has been developed in secret that will leave an even bigger strain than dead heat. Chase attacks. From the explosion, we hear an announcement for Drive, Type Formula. At the drive pit, we see Shinnosuke in a cast. He says that F1 racers are trained to withstand G-forces, so Krim suggests that Rena creates a weapon to help with Type Formula. She thinks Professor Harley may have left something behind to help her create it. She opens Harley's gift and sees pies. Chase takes Kiriko hostage and is stopped by Go, who exclaims that Chase isn't protecting Kiriko's life. Chase gets a flashback of Krim telling him to protect human lives. Medic knocks out Chase and retreats before Shinnosuke arrives. Go yells at Shinnosuke. Drive is meant to protect people while Mach is meant to destroy Roymutes. Chase fights Shinnosuke using his big slowdown. Chase gets the upper hand, but then a big rigged trailer drives onto the scene. Inside it are new shift cars. Shinnosuke transforms into Drive, Type Formula. Aside from Mach's suit, Formula is another one of my favorites. I used to really dislike the race car sticking out of the chest, but I got over it pretty quickly. Having the tires on the arms is probably one of the best places to have them, mostly because it reminds me of Power Rangers RPM. Not Go Launcher. I also like the light blue color scheme and the visor piece. I don't think I have anything negative to say about it anymore. Formula's big rig is able to become a weapon, the trailer cannon. Shinnosuke defeats Chase, possibly for good this time. Shinnosuke wishes that Chase could have been an ally instead. I don't know where else I can bring this up, but the Special Cases Department does some funny stuff. Later that night, Kiriko sees a badly hurt Chase. Now we're going to take a very long detour in between episodes 22 and 23, because a yokai attacks. Then a team of rangers appear, the ninjas. The yokai cause Slowdown to get away. Takaharu, the Red Ranger, is shot in the back by the Trideron. Shinnosuke notices that they look like weird, colorful Roymutes. Just like Gaim vs. Tokyuger, Kamen Rider and Sentai has a spring crossover again with Kamen Rider Drive and the ninjas. Takaharu tries to tell Shinnosuke that all this is a misunderstanding, but Shinnosuke arrests him. Meanwhile, Go is taking pictures of a strange portal that's been appearing in the sky. A stranger tells him not to take so much interest in the other dimension. The stranger introduces himself as Kamen Rider Sango. Takaharu makes a jailbreak to see his team and finds a yokai. One of the ninja's villains makes a couple of Roymutes grow bigger, so the ninja's mech is called. I admit, it's pretty cool to see a giant fight between Rider Mooks and a Sentai mech. The Roymutes are defeated, but a mech disappears. Not Madame Odious explains that the ninjas are currently in the Kamen Rider's dimension, and it will erase things from existence. This dimension is self-aware, apparently. The ninjas get arrested, yada yada yada, they escape, blah 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 blah. There was a villain named Dr. D pulling the strings. Shinnosuke and Go find Dr. D's lab, and inside Go shows Shinnosuke a picture of Shocker? It turns out that Dr. D is a Roymute that has been working behind the scenes to revive Shocker, using a dimensional barrier. Then, it's roll call time.
Kamen Rider Drive! 撲滅いずれもマッハ飛びなれども忍ばない
Dr. D is defeated, so it's time for the ninjas to return to their world.
単細胞がトップギアだぜ
Takaharu and Shinnosuke fist bump. Elsewhere, Kamen Rider Sango says that Dr. D was just a test of things to come. The true reign of shock or terror is here. Okay, Tokyuger Cross Gaim was charming, but a Ninja Cross Drive is, for the lack of a better word, dumb. It's dumb. I mostly didn't like how we were supposed to be sympathetic towards the ninja and how they would disappear. People who only watched Kamen Rider but watched this special might feel like the ninja doesn't have much going for it if they're easily disposable. If you did watch the ninja, then it feels like a cop-out for this. We're gonna be erased from existence when it means nothing. At least Krim breaking in a challenge from Lupin was aware that Krim couldn't die that early into the show. It's okay if you like Ninja and want to tell me about it in the comments. I know why you would like it, but I personally didn't like the special that much, if at all. Of course, I do have to bring up how these spring specials are also just set up for the Tyson movie. Tokyuja Cross Gaim was introducing the Showa Rider feud for Showa vs Heisei. Ninja Cross Drive had Kamen Rider Sango to lead into the next Tyson movie. Although, I do like that the dimensional stuff is part of the plot rather than being here last minute like the Showa Riders. A lot of it is just Ninja. I'm just gonna say that outright. Let's move on to the big one. Superhero Tyson GP, Kamen Rider Sango. During a rainy night, we see a TV showing classic footage of Kamen Rider Ichigo and Nigo fighting Great Leader. Then we get vintage footage of Kamen Rider Sango. I can't tell if I love the suit or wish it was closer to the Ichigo design. It looks really cool as a modernized Showa suit, like the Amazons, but maybe it could have been a bit more simple with less plastic if they really wanted it to be classic. Still, it's a good looking suit, despite being a bit jarring when standing next to Ichigo and Nigo. Well, Sango defeats them. I knew riders exploded when they died. Shinnosuke fights Roimute when he and Kiriko get engulfed by a green cloud. They get new, darker clothing and notice that the world is a bit different now. Shocker has taken over. All hope is lost since Kamen Riders now protect Shocker. Some kids are chosen to become part of Shocker, but a certain hero is here to save the day. It's Kamen Rider Black, Minami Kotaro. Good to see him again. Shinnosuke arrives to channel his inner Tsukasa Kadoya and says he'll defeat all the Kamen Riders. One of the Shocker monsters attacks the kids because they know that Kotaro will be forced to protect them. Seeing this, Shinnosuke remembers that he isn't supposed to be fighting for Shocker. At the Drive Pit, Kotaro tells the story of how Ichigo and Nigo were originally created for evil, but were later killed in battle. Other riders were also defeated and were remade to fight for Shocker, becoming Shocker Riders. Shocker mooks find the Drive Pit. Kotaro sacrifices himself so Kiriko and Shinnosuke can escape. Shinnosuke and Kiriko go to the Special Cases Department, where they see the chief get thrown out a window by a monster. The chief secretly believed in the Kamen Riders and wants Shinnosuke to do what's right. Then the chief dies. Shinnosuke fights the monster. Kiriko is taken hostage and tells Shinnosuke to return the world back to normal. She runs off the roof. Shinnosuke escapes with Sango. Alone, Sango reveals himself to be Kuroi Kyochiu and has a change of heart. Kuroi wants to fight for justice now. He says that Ichigo and Nigo are alive. They're in a rebel hideout called Rider Town. Shinnosuke and Kuroi run into Go. The three of them catch up around a bonfire. Then Kamen Rider J rampages above them. They're able to escape with the help of a familiar green flying train, owned by Sakurai Yuto. He talks about the timeline where he's from, where Kamen Rider Sango doesn't exist. The next day, Tachibana is defeated by Kamen Rider Chalice. Go and Kuroi arrive to help Tachibana escape. He says that Kamen Rider Liango has taken over this part of the city. That's interesting and all, but who allowed Mutsuki of all people to have power? Tachibana wants help to save Kanzaki, Kamen Rider Blade. Before they leave, Kuroi notices that Yuto has been following them. The group finds Kanzaki, but it was a trap set up by Liango and Tachibana. Yuto is about to kill Tachibana, but Kuroi yells at him to stop. Killing a rider is something he'll regret, like how Kuroi regrets killing Ichigo and Nigo. Yuto moves Kuroi out of the way of a blaster shot. The shooter is Takumi Inui, Kamen Rider Faiz. They all escape. That was an awkward introduction for Takumi, but let's move on. Yuto makes it to Rider Town alone as the rest fall behind to fight monsters. He goes to Takeshi Hongo's residence where he's greeted by Tobi Tachibana. The awkwardness continues. Yuto is led to the basement and sees an electric brain that holds the soul of Ichigo and Nigo, but this brain is being controlled by Shocker's great leader. This isn't Rider Town. It's Shocker Town. That's either the dumbest thing I've ever heard or the best thing I've ever heard. Tobi Tachibana was also a disguised monster. What a twist. Kuroi leads several monsters towards Yuto. Shinnosuke steps out of nowhere. Some of you may be wondering what Shinnosuke was doing between all this, and I have exclusive footage just for you. Kiriko is here too. Shinnosuke issues a challenge to Great Leader. The Shocker Riders versus Shinnosuke in a race.
Not just a race, but a special race to see who's the fastest.
Great Leader accepts because he's curious to see a broadcasted Rider Grand Prix. The race begins. Anything goes here as riders use their powers to get ahead. Since that's the case, why don't Agito and Double fly over everything? Or why doesn't Kabuto use Clock Up to win? Chase is here too. Kotaro is here too, but is Black RX. Go is here too. If you couldn't already tell, this movie drops off around this point since there's not much to talk about. Obviously, Shinnosuke says that Kuroi has some good in him, yada yada yada, power of friendship, blah 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 blah. Shinnosuke wins because people believe in Kamen Riders again, yeah okay. Helmetless shot of Kuroi. He's taken by Great Leader who's become a giant rider-like machine, which I'll call Great Machine. If that's the official name, then yay. Then we have our superhero kerfuffle as Ichigo, Nigo, Sango, and the Blade Riders, including Tajirona-san, all fight against Shocker Mooks. Then the ninjas arrive with their mechs. Shinnosuke apparently doesn't know who they are, but I'm gonna guess that's because of the Shocker timeline. Our obligatory brand new toy comes from the ninja's grandpa. The riders win, history is returned to normal, and Kuroi is not an F1 racer, yay. Shinnosuke thinks that Go would have liked to see this. I wonder what he means by that. Kiriko explains that history was repaired except for one thing. Go died in battle. Huh. Well... In the after credits, a cloaked man laughs. Kamen Rider Mach is dead, so now a new Shocker plan can begin. They're developing a new weapon. And that's the end of Tyson GP. God, this movie is terrible. Tyson movies are known to not be very good, but I think this may be the worst one. Yeah, personal opinion here, but Tyson GP is just stupid. It's convoluted for no reason, it has the most plot holes out of any Tyson movie so far, and it doesn't respect anything that came before. The only things I look forward to in these movies are the return of previous actors. Sure, I like seeing Yuto again, but everyone else seemed completely shoehorned in. GP was Yuto's return to acting, so I can see why he was given more screen time, and Kotaro was used as a small beacon of hope. That's okay, I guess. But Tachibana and Takumi didn't do anything. They both could have been cut out completely and we wouldn't have missed anything. The chief's death seemed really forced. Kiriko was basically Princess Elise from Sonic 06, and the movie had the gall to have some sort of artistic integrity by using black feathers as a symbol for Kuroi. But wait, those feathers are white once history is restored. Bite me. Not even the race was interesting to watch. With years worth of Kamen Riders and with bikes being the iconic symbol for Kamen Rider, how do you make a race for Kamen Rider boring? And why was this called Superhero Tyson instead of Kamen Rider Tyson again? The only Super Sentai representatives we have here are the Ninjas. Everything else is Kamen Rider. Whatever, I guess it's for brand recognition, despite Kamen Rider being more popular than Sentai in Japan. That's probably why the subtitle is Kamen Rider Sango. But that bothers me too. If you want to make a Sango movie, fine, but why mash it into a Tyson movie? Kuroi as a character isn't even interesting in the first place. You may have noticed that I skimmed through a lot, but that's only because there really wasn't anything necessary to say. Again, personal opinion, Tyson GP is really bad. I can't decide what's worse, this or Choo Superhero Tyson. Oh wait, at least Choo has some cool fights and moments like the character select screen. I can't think of a single scene I actually liked in GP. Ugh. By the way, Tobi Tachibana's actor is dead, you. However, there is something none of us expected. A net movie called Kamen Rider Yongo. Shinnosuke wakes up to Kiriko calling him over the phone, asking where he is since they were going to watch the Murmur Mansion movie together. Shinnosuke isn't going to be able to make it, so Kiriko watches a movie with Go. At the drive pit, Yuto and Takumi barge in saying that Shocker is attacking. Shinnosuke doesn't know who they or Shocker are. They go to where Shocker is and Shinnosuke starts to remember who Yuto and Takumi are. After watching the movie, Kiriko and Go see the riders fight Shocker. Then Shinnosuke remembers something dark. A Shocker monster grabs Go and explodes, killing him. Kiriko cries over Go's body. Then time stops. No slowdown. No heaviness. Time itself has stopped. Shinnosuke wakes up to Kiriko calling him over the phone, asking where he is since they were going to watch the Murmur Mansion movie together. Shinnosuke isn't going to be able to make it, so Kiriko watches a movie with Go. At the drive pit, Shinnosuke feels like he's experienced this before. Krim feels like it's deja vu. Yuto and Takumi barge in, saying that Shocker is attacking. They head out. Krim asks if Shinnosuke knows who they are. Of course Shinnosuke knows. He fought alongside Yuto and Takumi before. They fight off the Shocker mooks. Shinnosuke remembers that Go's died before. After watching the movie, Kiriko and Go see the riders fight Shocker. It all seems fine so far until Monster pierces Go's chest. Krim is feeling the deja vu. Kiriko cries over Go's body. Then time stops. No slowdown. No heaviness. Time itself has stopped. Shinnosuke wakes up to Kiriko calling him over the phone, asking where he is since they were going to watch the Murmur Mansion movie together. Shinnosuke tells her and Go to stay away from the shopping mall. At the drive pit, Shinnosuke leaves a note saying that he's already on the scene of the Shocker attack. During the fight, Shinnosuke notices that there are more Shocker monsters this time. Takumi, Yuto, and Go begin to join in, but Shinnosuke tells Go not to fight. Shinnosuke blocks a big blast that's being fired towards Go. Kiriko and Go cry over Shinnosuke's lifeless body. A familiar face says that something is coming again. Then time stops. No slowdown. No heaviness. Time itself has stopped. Shinnosuke wakes up to Kiriko calling him over the phone. At Shocker's base, we see that their weapon is almost complete. And an airplane. Shinnosuke doesn't answer Kiriko's call, so she and Go watch the Murmur Mansion movie without him. On the theater screen, Go sees his own death. Shinnosuke and Krim try to explain to Yuto and Takumi that they're in a time loop. If that's true, then Shinnosuke wouldn't remember anything either. Takumi makes a good point, but Krim is always monitoring Shinnosuke's health. There was a sign that he died recently. They understand, but Shocker is still on the loose, so Takumi goes to fight them, while Yuto decides to investigate on his own with a zero-liner. While on his way to fight Shocker, Takumi runs into our old friend, Naoya Kaido. He begs Takumi to stop with this case, so Kaido goes into his Orphanoct form. Go fights him off. The Zero-Liner is forced to stop moving when it gets close to a dimensional portal. This portal blasts the Zero-Liner away, and Yuto lands at the moment where Go is killed in Tyson GP. Great Machine from GP was able to change history. The strange thing is that it's being powered by Shinnosuke and his friends. Go fights a monster and dies again, causing another time loop. A certain someone has very strong feelings, so strong that it makes the machine work. It's Kiriko. Shinnosuke wakes up to Kiriko calling him over the phone. He gathers everyone in the drive pit and explains everything, including how Kiriko is causing the time loops. Go wants to find the machine and destroy it immediately, but it's not that simple. Destroying the machine means going back to the timeline where Go is dead for good. Go says he'll be okay with dying. It'll be a cool death to protect the world. Takumi scolds him. Dying isn't cool. Think about everyone's hearts that will be affected. While on a drive, Shinnosuke gets shot by an airplane. Shinnosuke jumps out and meets the pilot, Kamen Rider Yongo. Ichigo, Nigo, and Sango were humans with cybernetic enhancements. Yongo is pure machine. You can't have a change of heart if you don't have a heart. The suit for Yongo is one of my favorite rider suits outside of Drive, which is weird because it's just a pilot's uniform. I think it works for Kamen Rider because there are at least a couple of things added to it. I also do like the helmet. It's very modernized Showa, more so than Sango. Remember when I said that Drive's theme is sung by Kamen Rider Eternal? Well, he got a voice role as Yongo, so that's pretty cool. Shocker's goal was to create Yongo and use the time loops to make him stronger. Then Yongo would have enough power to take over. Yuto and Takumi join the fight, but Yongo is too strong. Shinnosuke takes Yongo's rider kick and dies. Shinnosuke wakes up to Kiriko calling him over the phone. Shinnosuke and his friends continue to fight, no matter what it takes. Loop after loop. Loss after loss. There have been too many loops at this point. Evil riders have returned. The world has become how it was during Tyson GP. Shocker has taken over for good. Enough is enough. Kiriko wants to die to stop the machine, but Shinnosuke doesn't want to hear it. Shinnosuke, Yuto, and Takumi infiltrate Yongo's base. Go and Kiriko are both taken hostage. Kiriko makes her decision and jumps off a building. Shinnosuke runs to her. But she really is dead. At least the loops won't happen anymore, right? Then time stops. Shinnosuke wakes up to Kiriko calling him over the phone. Shinnosuke pieces it all together. It's not Kiriko. Yuto barges in and says that Takumi is missing. Yuto and Shinnosuke run into Kaido. He says that it was Takumi who was powering the machine. He also says to leave Takumi alone. He's been through enough. Takumi's already died once before. Shinnosuke understands, but that's up to Takumi to decide. Everyone gathers around Takumi. If the time alteration machine is destroyed, then Takumi will be gone since he's connected to it. Go died in a different timeline, so destroying the machine wouldn't affect him after all. Takumi is okay with dying. Go is upset since Takumi is the one who said that life is precious, but Takumi already made up his mind. Go suggests taking a picture together. Go, Shinnosuke, Takumi, and Yuto arrive at Yongo's base. Shocker may have gotten stronger with time loops, but so have the Kamen Riders. Shinnosuke defeats Yongo. Takumi makes it to the time alteration machine where Kaido tries to stop him. Takumi has no other choice but to kill him off. The rest of the group makes it in time to see Great Leader take off his hood. It's Takumi. Great Leader Takumi uses a signal bike to transform. He's going to manually start a time loop using his axle brace. Shinnosuke figures that they should just give up at this point, but Takumi tells him to continue fighting even after he's gone. The countdown is about to end. Takumi shoots the axle brace. Shinnosuke wakes up to Kiriko calling him over the phone, asking where he is since they were going to watch the Murmur Mansion movie together. So Shinnosuke runs off trying to catch up with him. He runs into Yuto and gives him a photo that Go took. Yuto looks at the picture. The gang's all there, but there's some empty space in the middle. Shinnosuke, Go, and Kiriko miss the movie. There's no time for that anyway since a Roimita is attacking. Shinnosuke runs towards a Tridron and bumps into a man. Shinnosuke apologizes and drives off. The man looks at the sky, wondering who will protect it, since Takumi Inui is gone. I need to say it straight. The Yago Special is one of my favorite movies ever in Toku, strangely coming after one of my most hated Toku movies. Although I can actually somewhat forgive Tyson GP since it did have some bits to lead to Yago, aside from the after credits scene. Yago is very good. Every character is important, the story is interesting, and best of all, it's not boring. Even the extremely slow moments and build-ups had me glued to the screen. The plot was a bit contrived, time machine and all, but I can forgive it since it answers the most common sin time travel plots have. Why not just travel back to the point where none of this started? Yuto tried, and even if they could, Go would stay dead. This is just one of many things I had notes on, but they're addressed and answered pretty well, if not a bit sloppily. That's probably not what you want to hear though, huh? Alright, let's discuss the ending. Whether you watched Kamen Rider Fi's this season or not, you're gonna be lost. Let me clear up, or theorize, a few things. Kamen Rider Tyson, which aired during Gaim's season, retconned a fight Takumi had. That retcon is no longer canon, if it ever was. Basically, ignore whatever Kamen Rider Tyson's retcon had. Then another change was made. At the end of Fi's, Takumi is seen on a hill with his friends. There's a clip of Yago that shows Takumi alone. This may be more of a symbolic thing though. Next, what was up with Great Leader Takumi? I'm honestly surprised I haven't seen a lot more people talk about it, but what very little I see suggests that it's an alternate universe Fi's, or from a different timeline. Yeah, I can actually buy that. What I'm personally having a tough time with is pinning down the why. Why would Takumi be Great Leader and want to take over? In Tyson GP, Takumi says so himself, he's just tired of everything. Kaido tells Shinnosuke the same thing, that Takumi's been through enough. Multiple timelines are a reality in the Tokuverse, so maybe Takumi really did just want to end things. My own theory is that the Great Leader only took form of Takumi to throw off Shinnosuke, and to have Kaido on his side. I really want to say that Great Leader Takumi was in everyone's imagination, but then Kaido knew of Great Leader Takumi, and everyone else was as surprised as Takumi was during the reveal. Great Leader Takumi is definitely a strange thing to talk about since there isn't anything concrete. Only to make things even more complicated with Great Leader Takumi having a Phi signal bike. Where did he get one and why? I'm stumped on this one, guys. I'll talk about Ryuki's multiple endings as many times as possible, but Great Leader Takumi, I don't know. Despite all the confusion, I think having Takumi as Great Leader is a bit of a cop-out, but not a bad one. If you couldn't already tell, Takumi's story is a major part of Yago, trying his best to tie up whatever it can from the show, Having great leader Takumi almost tops it off with a clean bow. Almost. It leaves the great leader stuff up for speculation for the fans. Like I said before, open-endedness may seem cheap, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm repeating myself a bit, I know, I just really want to make sure it's understandable. Leave great leader Takumi open for theories. I'd love to read them. Now, let's finally talk about the ending. On the surface, Shinnosuke and friends return to the main timeline, the biggest change being that Faiz never existed. What really appears to happen is that Takumi is gone. Not dead, just gone after the events of Faiz. But there are a few constants. Kamen Rider Faiz's season has happened, no matter what, but Takumi is alive and off the grid. Shinnosuke never meets him. Shinnosuke not remembering Kaido, and Kaido still remembering Takumi, confirms this. Ghost group photo is kept and given to Yuto, which leads to even more problems, so I'll just stop there. Again, that's just how I see it. Yago is very theory heavy despite myself not seeing too much about it, so I hope you guys are able to get it together too.
Man, that took longer than I thought. Is this even History of Kamen Rider Drive anymore? What do you think, ProtoDubs?
Kamen Rider Drive 俺きこの後すぐ
Kamen Rider Drive is a very important show to me. It started airing a couple months after I graduated high school, and I'll spare all the details, but I was not in a good place mentally. I know this will make me sound super lame, but when Drive started, I had something to look forward to every week. Any BS I had to put up with during the week was fine because I knew at the end of it I could see what misadventures Shinnosuke and Kiriko would get themselves into. I love the characters in the show so much. Drive is one of the few Toku shows where none of the characters make me think, why are you here again? The supporting cast is the best we've had up until this point. The members of the Special Investigation Unit never felt like they were taking up too much screen time or bothering everyone, but they had their own focus episodes that made you like them even more. Mr. Bell is not only the coolest driver we've ever had, but the coolest mentor we've ever had. Go is one of the most well-written secondary riders of all time, and I will defend him to my deathbed. Chase is, without a doubt, the best. Prove me wrong. Spoiler alert.
You can't.
Drive also has the best rider girl ever with Kiriko. A lot of people say she's lame because she never transforms, and yes, I agree, she should have become a rider. But that doesn't mean she's a lame character because of it. She's a badass. She was all of the riders' rock that they could lean on, which they show very well in the Spinning Wheel music video. Did it suck to see her kind of relegated to damsel in distress in the second half? Yeah, absolutely. But I still don't think that makes her a bad character at all. Also, Kiriko walked so Yua could run. Shout out to my girl Valkyrie. Then there's Shinnosuke. This man right here can single-handedly turn a bad day for me into an amazing day. Anytime I'm in a bad mood, I'll just put on an episode of Drive and Shinnosuke just lights my day up. Honest to God, I don't think any main rider will ever be as good as he is in my heart. He's a bit of a moron, but when he's in top gear, nothing can stop him. I could go on and on about how much I love Tomari Shinnosuke, but instead I'll just have Marcos put up a picture of his actor Ryoma Takeuchi shirtless and you'll know exactly why I love him so much. Unless he cuts this out, because yeah, that's a little much. Fun fact, I wanted to voice Shinnosuke so bad in Heisei Avengerations that I made Kamen Driver just so I could secure that role for him. That's how much I love Shinnosuke. I wanted to be him so bad. I forced myself to make a Kamen Rider abridged series. Not that, you know, I didn't want to in the first place. That was just a final, like, please, just make it so I can be him.
Thank you for letting me be Shinnosuke, Marcos. I very much appreciate it.
All in all, Drive is a very close second to build as my favorite Kamen Rider season. If it wasn't for the ending, they probably would be tied. If you haven't watched it yet, please give it a chance. And if you have watched it, hell, give it a rewatch. It's so much better on a rewatch. I guarantee it.
Hashtag Drive has no bad suits.
Shut up, Hunter. Technic is a good suit. Y'all suck.
Thanks for joining me, Brodo. Hey viewer, if you're enjoying the video so far, then consider supporting the channel whether it's through YouTube memberships, Patreon, or my personal Ko-Fi. You'll get perks such as watching videos early, exclusive Discord channels linked to that in the description, and even join us or request a History of / Retrospective video. Back to History of Drive.
Rina is working on new shift cars for Type Formula, making Go a bit jealous. Chase and Drive have been getting stronger with new power-ups while Go only has dead heat. The Drive and Mach system are meant to grow, just like how Shinnosuke trusts in his feelings to use new forms. While fighting a Roimute, Go realizes he already has all the strength he needs. Go breaks through dead heat and becomes burst dead heat. All he gets is a red tire. Yay. Afterwards, Go tells Rina that he doesn't want a new power-up after all. Rina thinks it's a shame considering she already built another mock driver to test it. April 2015. Go is wondering why the Special Cases Department was formed. Kiriko was saved by a Kamen Rider, Rina knew Krim before he turned into a belt, and Shinnosuke is the protagonist. But what about Q and Ota? To find out, Krim challenges Go and Shinnosuke to solve a case that happened during the global freeze. A professor named Otagiri was found dead and his assistant went missing a few days after. Go and Kiriko investigate the case when Go brings up how Kiriko tried to be a Kamen Rider at one point, but she couldn't handle the drive system. Interesting bit of backstory there. Shinnosuke meets with Hojo from Agito? Just kidding. It's the same actor and a bit of a miss, but this man is Kusakabe Akira. Professor Otagiri had connections with Nishihori Koya. You might remember him by now, he's like in every special. Rina wonders why Krim is investigating a year-old case. Krim says that he thinks that someone named Bano was involved. Bano was brought up before, he was one of Krim's best friends. The investigation continues. We find out that Ota was in charge of this case during the global freeze. Nishihori may have been the one who killed Otagiri by cranking his helmet's voltage to max. Otagiri was experimenting on a helmet, but turning its voltage to max isn't enough to kill a person. Unless they wear it for longer than 5 minutes. Otagiri's assistant, Kasai, thinks she killed him. Kasai wanted revenge on Otagiri for plagiarizing her anima system. It's a system that allows anyone to dive directly into a technological database. Kiriko asks if the Roymutes have anything to do with this case. They do, because they were born from the anima system. Go confronts Q about his connection to Otagiri. Q interacted with the professor at one point, but then he does something drastic. Q thinks he killed the professor. Otagiri used to drink a mix of water and medicine every day. Q accidentally spilled his water without him knowing, and suddenly, the professor collapsed. Shinnosuke confirms that Q couldn't have done it because Kasai was in charge of the professor's medicine. Shinnosuke's brain is in top gear and figures that the time of death is important. He breaks the fourth wall and asks the audience how the professor died. Krim also breaks the fourth wall and says that Kamen Rider Drive has several specials that hide the answer. The people they know aren't the culprits. Kasai tried to kill the professor, but Q foiled that plan, so it has nothing to do with this. Nishihori left the helmet's electricity on max, but it wouldn't have killed him. However, the professor was wearing the helmet when the global freeze happened, which means he wore it for more than 5 minutes. It wasn't a murder. It was an accident. Nishihori may have set the voltage to max, but there was no real intent to murder. Bano is also unrelated to this case. He was just brought up a lot. Kusakabe meets with Shinnosuke to talk about the case, but how could Kusakabe have known that it was solved? Because he was a Roymute this whole time! Yeah, no duh. Brain copied Kusakabe, who knew too much about the anima system and didn't want news of it to go out. Bano started the global freeze specifically to take over Professor Otagiri's body. Bano was linked to the anima system and was looking for a way out. Then Otagiri accidentally died because of the slowdown. The case is solved and answers are found. Q was scouted to be part of the Special Cases unit because he's good with computers and networking. Ota is here because he was involved with the global freeze case. Shinnosuke is a bit peeved at Krim for using this case just to find something out for himself. During the credits, we see the names of the Drive special spell out Zico, or accident. This was a special called Type Tokujo, which is Special Cases Unit in Japanese, or Special Investigations Team, depending on how you translate it. It gives more backstory on the Special Cases team on what happened during the global freeze, as well as more about Bano. We sure are learning a lot about a person who hasn't appeared yet. Keep that in mind. If you're just watching the show and not the specials, I can still recommend Type Tokujo. I also do like how all the specials spell out the answer to the case. That's a really cool detail. I just wish that Type Lupin wasn't part of the name because we won't get to that special for a very long time. Still, the mystery was cool, and again, I do recommend Type Tokujo. It gives a feeling that something is about to change. We continue with episode 25. Why has a new battle started? The Special Cases team plays cards and someone barges in.
Good morning!
Chief Nero from the 1st Division, and he's kind of a jerk. Outside, Shinnosuke is feeling stressed over keeping his identity as a Kamen Rider a secret. Hart notices that Roymute numbers are starting to dwindle. Medic informs him that the Roymutes discovered a new way of evolving using a red viral core and fusing with a human. The commanders didn't make the core, but Hart might know who did. Several officers apologize to Ota for not believing that Kamen Riders and Roymutes exist. The Special Cases team is about to dispatch, but Nero stops them. If the Roymutes are being defeated by the Kamen Riders, then the department isn't needed. Shinnosuke thinks to himself, Kamen Riders are part of the department. Kiriko goes to see Chase because she needs a tissue sample from a Roidmude. Q follows her at Shinnosuke's request. Chase stays silent and shoots himself, leaving behind what Kiriko needs. She calls Rina to let her know that she's on her way. Much to Q's surprise that Rina is involved. A Roidmude attacks the hospital where Hayase, Shinnosuke's partner, is. Shinnosuke arrives but can't transform with Ota and so many people around. To make things more stressful, Go is fighting the strong Roidmude alone as Rina and the rest are here with Krim. At this point, Shinnosuke's made his decision. He can't allow Hayase to get hurt again. Shinnosuke grabs Krim and transforms in front of Q and Ota. After the fight, Shinnosuke and Kamen Riders himself and everyone claps. Go also reveals himself. Q and Ota are shown the drive pit, then the chief congratulates Shinnosuke. The chief is a big part of the police force and was the one that created the special cases department since he knew Krim. The chief also informed all the news outlets about Shinnosuke being a Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider Drive being part of the police is now out to the public. Nero tells Shinnosuke to watch his back or else he'll end up like his father, Aisuke Tamari. Shinnosuke doesn't take it lightly and wonders if there was more to his dad's death. The city should be safer with 2 Kamen Riders out to the public now. Actually, Krim says that Proto Drive was saved by Kiriko, and Rina had another mock driver so Chase might be able to help too. We learn that Hart has been holding on to the Proto Drive shift car, which he's able to use to find Chase. Roidmude 001 created the red fusion cores. Hart isn't Roidmude 001, he's actually 002. Brain is 003, and Medic is 009. Hart and Shinnosuke have a fight, but Chase gets in between them, specifically to protect Hart. Hart gives him the Proto Drive car, but doesn't want anything to do with him anymore, because Chase can't decide his own path. Chase looks into the waters and sees a reflection of his Roidmude self. His bike drives up with a black case attached. Shinnosuke tries to fight off a Roidmude, but his hand is too hurt from the earlier battle with Hart. Go is having a tough time with a Roidmude as it is. A pipe bursts, Kiriko falls, and the Roidmude is about to skewer her. Chase arrives, saving her again just like on that day of the global freeze. Chase opens the case. Inside is a mock driver and a new signal bike. This is Kamen Rider Chaser. What I love is the helmet. The casting off of Machine Chaser was a beautiful touch, so seeing a leftover part of Machine Chaser and Kamen Rider Chaser is nice. Honestly, as much as I hate having too little on the suits, i.e. the Tokyuger suits, I think Chaser works fine. It's the minimal details that really make it, whether it be the left side of the helmet, the Machine Chaser logo on Chaser's arm, or the wheel on the back that came from the Machine Chaser form. Kamen Rider Chaser also gets his own weapon, an axe. And no, it doesn't turn into a gun. I haven't been talking about weapons too much, mostly because I'm not that interested in them, but I love this axe. Since, well... Come on, that's hilarious. Chase still has his previous weapon too, the Brake Gunner, which is another nice touch since it's not like Machine Chaser was deleted, it's just not in use. Chase wins the fight and rides off. Under his breath, Hart says goodbye to his old friend. News stations have noted that another Kamen Rider is in their presence. Chase sees himself on TV and is satisfied with the path he's chosen. In a dark room, an old man tells Nero to keep an eye on the Special Cases department. Nero leaves and Brain steps out of the shadows, applauding the man on creating a new way to evolve. We see a name plaque. Makagi Soichi, the Minister of Defense, also known as Roidmude 001. Rina introduces Shinnosuke to the Rider Boosters, sidecars that can make the Tridon fly and it can hold the 3 riders together. But more importantly, you can buy them as accessories for your Tridon toy. Go doesn't see Chase as a Kamen Rider. A Roidmude is still a Roidmude. Kiriko tries to make Go understand, but Go pushes her away. She slaps him. The Special Cases Department are in a meeting where Roidmude investigations are now being called mechanical life forms. Ha! Sick Kuga reference. I bet they'll refer to this as much as Agito does. Also, Rain is here now, don't question it. After fighting off some Roidmudes, Go attacks Chase, but Shinnosuke defends him. Go explains that his own dad was the one that created the Roidmudes, Bano Tenjiro, Krim's best friend. So Go has been doing his own investigation in these past 2 episodes that I haven't brought up. He was investigating with this girl and it seems like they're having a small romance. It was pretty good, but it's probably gonna end up to be one of those forced types of romance that are here for an episode out of nowhere, and this girl turns out to be a Roidmude. Go is upset, blah blah blah. She's probably not even that important.
彼女の名は西堀玲子。かつてプロトドライブだったチェイスに倒された。
She's the daughter of Nishihori Koya from all the specials and other episodes. Oh. Well, guess we'll never see her again. Episode 29. What really happened in the bank robbery? A criminal named Nageshi Itsuro robbed a bank. He's a Roimute. 12 years ago, Shinnosuke's dad, Aisuke, was a victim of a bank robbery. During it, a little girl started crying, so Nageshi aimed his gun at her, only for Aisuke to block the bullet. Brain sort of defected from Heart's group, so Brain took Go under his wing, after Go was having struggles on figuring out what to do. Shinnosuke defeats Nageshi's Roimute and arrests him. Remember that Chase was giving back his Proto Drive shift car from Heart, so Rina was fixing it for a while. Now that it's fixed, Chase is able to regain some memories. He sees that Roimute 001 was part of his transformation into Machine Chaser. 001 reverts to his human form. Chase's memories are being projected so everyone around him can see that Roimute 001 is Mikage, the Minister of Defense. In the next episode, Shinnosuke gets an email from a Mr. X. The email shows data on a pandemic that happened 10 years ago. However, this pandemic turned out to be a hoax. The person in charge of this case was Mikage. Shinnosuke confronts him directly in public. Roimute 001 has an ability that can shoot ice needles to rework people's memories. People around them won't remember what happened, but Shinnosuke seems unaffected. There aren't too many people who can resist memory control. One of those people was Aisuke Tamari. That's why he had to die. Each Roimute commander has an emotion that can be pushed to a limit to evolve. Brains is jealousy, Medics is passion, Hearts is joy. 001's is humiliation. Aisuke and Shinnosuke made him feel that emotion. We then learn that 001's name is Freeze. He escapes. The Special Cases Department figures out that a keyword is needed to bring back people's memories. Freeze had the entire police force forget about the Roimutes from the global freeze. Their keyword is Roimute, which explains why Lieutenant Oda was never able to pronounce her name correctly. Chase has been in the Roimute's ranks, so why hasn't he said anything sooner?
聞かなかったからだ。
Humorous scene aside, this is a weird explanation. The entire police force didn't know about the Roimutes? What about the public? What about the Special Cases Unit? There must have been some records kept. If not written, then there must have been footage. Smartphones, Instagram, and Snapchat were a thing in 2015, so I find it hard to believe that everyone just forgot. Chase has a chat with Heart about something called Super, or Ultimate Evolution. And that's it. Gotta bring it up somehow. Shinnosuke had the ice needle taken out of him by Rina to make an antidote and returns everyone's memories. They test it on Ota. Shinnosuke finds out that Freeze has been experimenting on people, but the team doesn't know where to even start. Then Nira busts through the door to give them the data they're looking for. Nira came to his senses about the Roimute, the department, and Mikage. Nira was a huge jerk in these past episodes, not allowing Shinnosuke to transform several times, having the Special Cases team do menial labor, and ignoring whatever they or Ota had to say about Mikage. With Nira's help, Shinnosuke finds a warehouse that Mikage was keeping his victims. Mikage is more afraid of humiliation than we thought. The people he experimented on were all able to resist his memory control, so he just had to find out why. Mikage, Roimute 001, also known as Freeze, is defeated. Or is he? Freeze has reached his limit of humiliation. 001 has achieved his golden ultimate evolution. With his newfound power, Freeze shoots through Shinnosuke. His heart stops. Shinnosuke Tamari has been killed in action. It seems like Krim died along with him and can't be removed. Freeze shows off his super evolution to the Roimute commanders. I like the idea of more evolved forms being gold, but it's the exact same suit painted in an ugly shade of yellow. You probably know what kind of shading it reminds me of. There's one exception of the yellow shade, but we'll get to that later. For now, they're kind of blah. Chase enters their hideout and fights Freeze, but the evolution is too strong. Go is about to join, but then he incapacitates Brain. I brought it up before that Go was on Brain's side for a bit, but it was all an act so Go can steal Brain's tablet. Go feels guilty for not being able to save Shinnosuke. all for a tablet. He turns it on to see his dad, Professor Bano. The Special Cases team, including Nira, gather in the drive pit. Shinnosuke's corpse is in the Trideron, except it may not actually be dead. Rina explains that Shinnosuke fused with Krim's belt as a life support system, which means that Krim needs to be rebooted with Rina's new shift car, Shift Trideron. The powers of all the shift cars and the Trideron itself are going to combine, but first, it needs to reach 200 kilometers, or about 124 miles, per hour. Kiriko gets data from Go to help with the Trideron. Go has been working from the shadows when he was with Brain, taking the Mr. X persona. It's time to bring Shinnosuke back. Kiriko starts the car, but Freeze tries to stop it as Chase fights. It may be too late as the Trideron bursts into flames. Then Shinnosuke steps out. He fires all engines and becomes Drive, Type Trideron. That jingle still gives me chills. I didn't like this suit at first because of how much red there is. However, I grew to love it. The belt is even flattened for a more streamlined look. That's actually the best way I can describe it. Streamlined. I know some may still think that there's way too much red, and I do agree, but everything else makes up for it. The helmet, the tire on the shoulder, the white stripes throughout the suit. It's cool. What Type Trideron can do is combine 3 shift cars to create one big super attack. I love that too. The driver can also switch between Shinnosuke and Krim. Another thing I like is the insert theme, Unlimited Drive. I'm not that much of a fan of Kamen Rider girls, but they did a great job making a Type Trideron theme. Man, I just really like this form a lot, even if there is too much red. Before Freeze is defeated, he says that there's been something hiding within the shadows. Roymute 001's core is destroyed. Episode 34, Who Claimed the Life of Eisuke Tamari? Evidence has gone missing. It was a bullet and its gun that was used during the bank robbery from 12 years ago. Shinnosuke's brain is already in top gear on this case. Since Freeze is gone, memories have started to resurface. The killer remembered the bank robbery and needed certain pieces of evidence gone. Shinnosuke tracks down a Roymute, who reverts to Chief Nira. He was jealous of Eisuke Tamari and wanted him gone. Nira was there at the bank the same day as Eisuke. The robbers didn't want to shoot anyone, so Nira did it for them. Mikage saw what was happening and knew that Nira would be good Roymute material. Nira is taken away by Brain because they both share the overabundant emotion of jealousy. They fuse to make Brain evolve further. 20 hours until the incident. The bullet is recovered, but Nira still has the gun. Heart is overjoyed that Brain has reached ultimate evolution. Oh look, there's a meme of Brain laughing at Medic. 14 hours until the incident. Nira broadcasts a report that Kamen Rider Drive is under arrest for collaborating with the Roymutes along with the Special Cases Department. Each person in the department had a connection to a Roymute in one episode or another. The nail in the coffin is that Kamen Rider Chaser is a Roymute that previously attacked civilians. Officers storm the department as Shinnosuke's friends help him get away. 1 hour until the incident. Shinnosuke is on the run, and Krim has a funny new look. Shinnosuke corners Nira inside the Special Cases Department, but Nira pulls out the missing gun. 15 minutes until the incident. Shinnosuke fell into Nira's trap. The news says that it's Shinnosuke who's holding Nira hostage. Time of the incident is imminent. Nira wanted to take everything away from Shinnosuke before killing him. He insults Shinnosuke and his father to make Shinnosuke draw his own gun in frustration. Shinnosuke shoots, but doesn't aim for Nira. Then Nira shoots. Shinnosuke lays against the wall. Nira delivers a conference. He had to shoot in self-defense. Kiriko steps in with Shinnosuke and the other riders. Shinnosuke used Dimension Cap to stop Nira's bullet. Brain, if you forgot he was working for Nira, is also outed for being an accomplice for Nira's crimes. With no other choice, Brain and Nira transform. Chase, Go, and Shinnosuke fight them. We hear an insert theme called Spinning Wheel. I highly recommend listening to it and read the lyrics while you're at it. After 12 years and the loss of his dad, Shinnosuke finally arrests Nira. This is one of the most satisfying scenes in Kamen Rider. At the department, the chief makes an announcement that they're now being recognized as a major crimes unit. They could have moved to the main police HQ, but the drive pit is underneath the licensing center, so they can't exactly just pack up and leave. Rina makes her own announcement. There are only 45 Roymutes left. The next case involves Medic going behind Heart's back to experiment on the Roymutes, because she wanted to reach ultimate evolution using a vial that another Roymute was making. She was finally able to get her vial, but it was broken during a fight with the riders. She begins to cry because she did it all for Heart. Go is about to finish her, only for Shinnosuke to get in the way. Roimutes are capable of love. They can change, just like Chase. Shinnosuke wants to give Medic a chance, like how Heart spared Shinnosuke at one point. Krim says that they need to kill Medic now or else the Roimutes will keep getting stronger. Roimutes aren't humans, it's us versus them. Heart yells out that Roimutes aren't too different after all. Medic is prepared for punishment. Heart stands over Medic and embraces her. Shinnosuke doesn't want to fight, but as long as Roimutes threaten humans, Shinnosuke will have to. Heart bows, showing respect. Then he starts to get more power than before. Heart has evolved. His power causes an explosion in the area that should have injured the riders, but an unknown force saved them. Krim knows that it could have only been the power of one person, or in this case, one electronic device. A man in black stands on a cliff, scoffing at Heart's evolution. The man looks a lot like Krim. He even has the drive driver. Go wanted to be part of one filler investigation, but he can't because it required having a car license, not a motorcycle one. It's a good thing Chase is working on getting his own license then. Later, Krim asks Go about Bono. Go shows that he's been holding on to Bono for a while. Go wants them to work together, but Krim immediately declines. He's angered about what Bono has done, including stealing the consciousness exchange system. The team goes into the drive pit where they see it being controlled by Bono. He explains that he's the creator of the Roimutes and Kiriko's father. The Roimutes kept Bono alive because he could help increase their numbers. Despite Krim being completely against him, Bono would make for a good ally. At least, until Bono starts to shoot at the riders during their fight with Heart. Shinnosuke falls into a forest where Roimute 004 takes Krim. Go and Heart find Shinnosuke. Heart figured that Bono pretended to be an ally to get some data from the drive pit. Not even Heart would trust Bono. After all, Bono was the one that tortured him and other Roimutes relentlessly. 15 years ago, Bono tried to convince a young businessman to fund his research, but the man refused. Out of spite and revenge, Bono forced a Roimute to copy the businessman. Bono tortured this Roimute, who took the name Heart. He saw that humans could be monsters, so he swore revenge against them. Krim saw what Bono was doing and stopped all research with him. Out of even more spite, Bono installed the dark hearts of humans into Roimutes. Ironically, it's what can make a Roimute evolve. Kiriko's mother left Bono because she was disappointed in what a truly evil man Bono can be. Go can't take it anymore. Bono used his only son for his own gain. In a warehouse, Bono uses the stolen data to create a drive driver so he can have a host like Krim. Shinnosuke breaks in, but is too late. Bono has already uploaded his consciousness and has escaped with Roimute 004. By the way, Chase got his driver's license now. Kind of ironic considering his actor doesn't. We see a broadcast from someone named Eiji Tamari, the son of Kamen Rider Drive. He's sending a message from the year 2035. Everyone's in danger. Krim Steinbelt has become a dictator. His true intention is to take over the world. Eiji Tamari is the only one who can save the future, so he goes back in time. A dark version of Drive says that Krim's belt was taken in July 2015, which is where Eiji Tamari is heading to. Dark Drive's mission is to stop Eiji. Eiji runs towards a portal and finally makes it to the year 2015. Dark Drive is also here. Eiji holds onto Shinnosuke's tie and makes a run for it. Into our summer movie. Surprise future. August 6, 2015. Shinnosuke tries to open a letter given to him by Krim, but Krim tells him not to open it for another 2 days. Shinnosuke is about to shoot at a Roimute until Eiji yells at him to stop, but Shinnosuke takes a sloppy shot and causes a warehouse to explode. Krim is angered, then starts to malfunction. Dark Drive hunts them down. Shinnosuke escapes with Eiji as the police declare Shinnosuke a fugitive for destroying the building. Eiji explains that he's Shinnosuke's son. 1 year from now, the Roimutes will take over because of Krim. Shinnosuke gets a glimpse of the future, where Krim is the leader of the Roimutes. Shinnosuke is about to brush it off, but Eiji shows him a tie. It's the same tie that Shinnosuke wears. In the future, Shinnosuke dies while Eiji was young, so another motive to come back to the past was for Eiji to see his father. The police find them, and Shinnosuke uses a movie-exclusive key to call on the Tridron to escape. They go to a power plant because Eiji believes he can modify Krim and get rid of his evil intentions. Eiji is almost done until he gets shot by Dark Drive and dies. Krim warns Shinnosuke about transforming because he's malfunctioning, but he does so anyway to help Go and Chase. While they're fighting, let me just say that Dark Drive looks really cool. You can tell it's more futuristic by how polygonal the suit is, and the black-blue color scheme is more sleek. The yellow tire kind of throws me off, but that's a nitpick. I really do like the suit. Go and Shinnosuke defeat Dark Drive, but Krim takes over as Type Trideron and fights back. Shinnosuke forces Krim off. Krim asks to be destroyed. Shinnosuke is hesitant, but he knows that Krim's biggest guilt is helping create the Roimudes. Shinnosuke grabs Chase's axe. Then Krim is destroyed. Eiji steps out and summons Dark Drive. Eiji is the Kamen Rider of the future, so he can remotely control Dark Drive. The future recordings of Krim and Eiji were just a fabrication. The real Eiji was killed by Roimude 108, who copied him and took his belt. Then he planned to take over the past and future by awakening his past self. Eiji, or now known as Roimude 108, transforms into Dark Drive. Shinnosuke is too stunned to move. Dark Drive uses a final attack, but Chase stands in the way to protect Shinnosuke. Chase gives him his mock driver. Later that night, Shinnosuke opens Krim's letter. Shinnosuke goes to a warehouse where a recording of Krim plays. This warehouse was the original drive pit. August 8th would commemorate the 1-year anniversary that Krim and Shinnosuke met. As a gift, Krim was going to give Shinnosuke the old drive pit. This also explains why Kamen Rider Drive is based on vehicles. Krim really likes cars. No, really, that's it. Krim just really liked cars. Kiriko is here too. This old drive pit is attacked. Our prototype Trideron is uncovered. It's black and purple, like how Proto Drive was. Shinnosuke drives off with it, although it gets destroyed by Dark Drive. Shinnosuke puts on Chase's mock drive, but it won't work. Instead, Shinnosuke uses the Trideron's key. One of Dark Drive's controlled vehicles rams into Shinnosuke, but he transforms into Drive Super Dead Heat. First, that helmetless shot lasted 1 second, but it was so cool. I still can't decide whether I like the suit or not. It's messy and incomplete on purpose, signifying a mix of the completed Drive, Proto Drive, and even a bit of Machine Chaser. I like the torso, but the helmet looks weirder than usual to me. At the very least, I wouldn't mind buying a figure of it. Shinnosuke finds Eiji working on making Roimude 108 stronger. Eiji is going to use an incoming storm as a power source, which is why he came back to this specific day. Meanwhile, the police fight off a Roimude when suddenly... Let's go! A portal summons a hero from the near future, Kamen Rider Ghost. He floats around and disappears, using his ghost powers as advantages. Ghost uses another form to defeat the Roimude. Oh man, I love this fight, and I love Ghost's suit even more. If this is a small taste of what's to come, then I bet this season is gonna be so great. Oh my gosh, I really can't wait for it, guys. Roimudes 108 from the past and future combine to reach their ultimate evolution, and cause another global freeze. Shinnosuke finds Eiji's drive driver and uses the Trideron's key to bring Krim back. Don't worry, it's not a Deus Ex Machina. We were told earlier that the key held Krim's data and it was created just in case. Krim returns. He and Shinnosuke share a laugh. Then they transform. However, Roimude 108's power has gotten so strong that he can not only cause slowdown, but he can stop time entirely. Kiriko is able to get a hold of Eiji's shift car, so she throws it to Shinnosuke. The spirit of Eiji stands beside him and they both transform into Drive Type Special. I'm not really a fan of the suit. I get what they're going for, being similar to Dark Drive with yellow for the undersuit instead of the tire. But the mix of Dark Drive's chest piece, the yellow undersuit, and the red tire don't work for me. Still, it's a nice gesture for Shinnosuke and his son to transform together. The rider kick is also pretty cool. Roimude 108 is destroyed and time continues as normal. Shinnosuke holds onto Eiji's leftover tie and wonders who his mother is going to be. Shinnosuke looks at Kiriko and laughs. She gets a bit mad and chases him. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love absolutely everything about it. The characters, the writing, the story, the plot twist. I don't even mind the inevitability of Krim coming back for the second time. Literally the only thing I don't like is Type Special, but everything else is perfect. Perfect. This is probably the one thing I was most excited for when it came to rewatching Drive, because I just like this movie so much. I love Surprise Feature. Don't at me. In a flashback, we see a Roimude 000 on a cross. He's being awakened by Krim. This is the origin to Kamen Rider Proto Drive. Chase is woken up by Kiriko since there's a Roimude attacking. This starts Drive Saga, Kamen Rider Chaser. Drive Saga are side movies. Chaser takes place after Surprise Future, but before episode 41. Although you can tell it was filmed late into Drive because some characters like Brain got haircuts for other projects, but returned here. I think it's a little funny. The fight with the Roymute causes a civilian to get hurt. Chase takes a civilian, named Hinako, to the hospital. She doesn't care that she's hurt, but she wants to take care of her brother, Hiroshi. Chase says he can do it for her, but Hiroshi is very reluctant since he's shy and says that Chase looks like a mannequin. This wouldn't be the first time Chase was called a mannequin, so he tries his best to seem more human by smiling. Heart yells at a woman, who is a Roymute. She was berating him for being the kind of leader that would lead the rest of his kind into extinction. The woman is Roymute 099. She's evolved and taken on the name Angel. She's basically starting a religion for other Roymutes to follow her instead of Heart. On the department's rooftop, Chase tells Rina and Krim that he wants human emotion. Rina makes a joke that maybe Chase is still out of it from fighting Roymute 108. When Chase was taken in by Heart, Chase was told to copy a human, so he did, but did end up copying that human's emotions. Krim only programmed Chase to have infallible justice, not emotions. Besides, Bono implemented emotions into other Roymutes, and look how they turned out.
Amazing! Oh my god!
Chase is later hit by Angel's feather. He starts to feel human emotion and follows her into an office. Angel copied a psychologist so Angel can understand the psyche of Roymutes. If they had more emotions than they already do, then they would lose the will to fight. Angel reveals a feather on her own chest and slowly starts to seduce Chase. The next day, Shinnosuke, Go, Kiriko, and Krim discuss tracking down a Roymute. Krim is drinking from a bowl. How's he doing that? Chase walks in smiling and saying how great yesterday was. Naturally, everyone is taken aback. Chase is fine. He's just more human now.
What?
He even begs to be taken out of the case temporarily to take care of Hiroshi. On the inside, Chase is thinking in his deeper, more serious voice. While watching Chase play basketball with Hiroshi, Krim gets a call from Kiriko. Shinnosuke found the body of the human that a Roymute copy. There's just one tiny problem. The victim's body was directly in the middle of Tokyo and the city of Futo, making it difficult to claim jurisdiction on who can investigate. Terui Ryo is leading a team to investigate this case since the victim was using a Gaia memory. Shinnosuke and Go are a bit terrified of Terui's serious demeanor. By the way, it's nice to see Terui again, and it's all thanks to Shinnosuke's actor who requested his return for this movie. A Roymute attacks Chase, but he isn't able to transform into a Kamen Rider because a feather is messing with his core programming. Angel throws Chase a brand new toy. She wants Chase to use it and become the ultimate Roymute. Chase transforms into Machine Chaser and uses the Golden Rhino viral core to become Super Machine Chaser. Hiroshi and Hinako are terrified. Super Machine Chaser doesn't look too bad, and it makes sense for this to be a Machine Chaser upgrade. You can think of it as an ultimate evolution. The shade of gold is better than the other Roymutes evolutions, but maybe it could have done without the purple accents. Shinnosuke receives a call from Ota. The real body of the Roymute has been found, so the body in between Tokyo and Futo turns out to be a completely different Roymute. It wakes up and uses the Beast Gaia memory to become a combination of a Roymute and a dopant. To Shinnosuke's surprise, Terui fights it off as Kamen Rider Axel. Afterwards, they say their goodbyes and Terui gets a call from his daughter. That's so cute. Later on, Chase fights Angel one-on-one. It turns out that she's been using her feathers on more than just Roymutes. Hiroshi has one. This is where you're supposed to care. Probably. Chase figures that the only thing he can do is grab his super viral core and rip the feather out of his own chest. Chase loses his emotions and transforms into Kamen Rider Chaser. He shoots Angel with his marketable toy and destroys her core. Shinnosuke and Go notice that Chase is back to his normal self. But is that a good thing? Bono and Roymute 004 watch Chase walk away. They had a self-destruct programmed into Krim that didn't go off. Remember in Surprise Future that Krim isn't in the same belt as before. Bono continues his search for a vessel for his ultimate evolution. Medic has been reading books on love this entire time, so she puts what she learned into practice by dressing more provocatively for Heart. Chase goes to see Hiroshi, just to tell him to make more friends at school. Chase lost his recent memories after tearing out the feather. He goes to the beach. Humans don't need to care for him, because he just needs to care for humans. This movie has moments. It's for those that want to see more of Chase and his inner turmoils. That part is interesting at the very least. Having Axel return is pretty cool, and seeing more of the Roymutes in general is nice. As you can tell, this movie isn't really my thing, but I can see why people enjoy it. The Roymutes become more sympathetic, especially Hart. What I can't get behind is the whole artsy religious parallel stuff. I had a quip about it during Tyson GP, but all this try-hard art is not for me. At least, not in the way it's pushed down my throat in this movie. Made even worse when the first thing you see is Chase on a cross, and there being a scene where the Roymute commanders call Angel a fallen angel. Ugh. Everything else though, yeah, I don't mind it. Unfortunately, Angel is a big part of the movie, so she drags it down a bit for me, considering she had a neat concept that wasn't fully utilized with the whole I have my own followers thing. Once again, I can see why people enjoy it, and it did give Chase more character. I always thought Chase was pretty good, and that's emphasized more here. Now I just want to hug him. I can suggest watching if you really want more Chase or want to see the cool Kamen Rider Axel cameo. Also, this ending theme, Goodbye Little Moon, is beautiful. We enter the final stretch with episode 41, How is the Golden Drive Born? Despite the title having Golden Drive in it, this episode is actually about Medic and her human, Hattori Misuzu. Medic may have found a way to evolve using the love of Misuzu. Chase asks Shinnosuke what love is. He says it's like getting a tight pain in your chest. Kiriko trips over stairs and Chase catches her, as well as catching feelings since he starts to feel a tight pain in his chest. Brain stumbles across a few Roymutes trying to ambush Banno, who's able to easily destroy 6 of them. A Roymute leader is about to evolve, but Banno takes over its body. Banno then transforms into a golden version of Kamen Rider Drive. Go shoots at him. Banno's betrayed his own children. For that, Go swears to destroy him. Banno laughs. Go is just a lab rat to him and has worn out his use. Elsewhere, Medic tells her story of the global freeze. She was looking for a human to copy when she stumbled across Misuzu on the ground, about to die. What pushed Misuzu to live was the love she felt. Medic appeared as a white goddess. However, a side effect of saving Roymutes was that she felt their negative feelings, which is how she became more cold-hearted and got into her black clothing. Before Medic can say any more, Banno walks up and transforms into what he calls Kamen Rider Gold Drive. I personally don't mind recolors, and this is no exception. I like to see how suits would be with different color schemes, and Gold Drive works pretty well for an evil version of Drive. The eyes are a menacing red, and the gold is a similar shade to the Roymute's Ultimate Evolution. I said before that there was one exception to the ugly shade of yellow for Ultimate Evolutions, and this is it. Mostly because it's shinier rather than washed out. I also like Banno's version of the Drive Driver. Unlike Crim's Driver, Banno's face doesn't change on it, making it seem more uncannily terrifying. My favorite part is that the tire piece is flat and not bulging out of its chest. Fun fact, when Gold Drive's figure came out, the box art romanized his name as Gord Drive, with an R instead of an L. Banno takes on the riders no problem and allies himself with the Roymute commanders. Medic reluctantly agrees because he can help her evolve. Now that Medic can evolve without Misuzu, Medic decides to get rid of her. At least, Medic thinks she can evolve, but she's not feeling any stronger during a fight. A dog runs past them towards Misuzu. What Misuzu loved most was the dog. That pure love became Medic's core. Seeing them reunited makes Medic realize that their love is the same feeling of love she has for Heart. Medic is feeling the evolution, but something stops her. Banno recently messed with her programming. When she got her ultimate evolution, Medic would become a puppet for Banno. He says that all the promised numbers are here. However, Heart doesn't believe that Banno is one of them. We discover that Brain is on the run from Banno. If all 4 promised numbers gather, then a greater global freeze will happen. Brain thinks about recent events and sheds a tear. Over Medic. Later on, Ultimate Lupin sends a challenge to Shinnosuke. The writers and Kiriko discuss about it. Remember Go's cameo in the Gaim Cross Drive movie? It was Go that helped restore Crim back to normal. Shinnosuke says that Lupin has been sending a lot of challenges, but they were usually petty crimes. This one is for real, so Shinnosuke's brain is already in top gear. He's going to arrest Lupin for good. Shinnosuke goes to their meeting place and fights. He knows that this can't be the real Lupin, so the real one shows up and takes back the Lupin gunner. Lupin had a run-in with Roymute 100, who stole it a while ago. This challenge was a plan for Shinnosuke to find the Roymute. They team up and defeat Roymute 100. Lupin disappears, leaving behind his Lupin gunner on a note. It's a final goodbye because the real Lupin was heavily injured. so it was time for him to go. That was a pretty fun ride, despite it only being 10 minutes long, and I like Lupin, so I did enjoy the special. What I find weird is that Type Tokujo talks about the special despite Type Lupin taking place between episodes 42 and 43, since Chase has a Kamen Rider and Shinnosuke has Type Trideron. I guess that's just how it goes when planning shows this big. But again, this special was a nice way to end them. Timeline-wise, Type Lupin is the last Drive special, because we're reaching the final 5 episodes. Episode 43. When will the second global freeze start? The police hunt down a Roymute. They're not affected by slowdown and have special bullets that can destroy them. The head of defense wants special armor to be mass-produced and has a brand new department for the Special Cases Unit. Luckily, the chief shows off Rina's latest invention, the Pico Pico Mark IV. It looks a lot like the mock driver. Then, it's time? He transforms into a makeshift mock, where the chief calls himself Kamen Rider June. It's kinda cute, but it seems that he can't move. The driver needs some work. Shinnosuke has a drink with Chase. Chase asks if Shinnosuke loves Kiriko. We have a flashback to when Shinnosuke was watching Chase talking to her. Chase ended up not saying anything because he noticed how Shinnosuke was acting. Shinnosuke continues to act strange, then gets startled by Kiriko. He realizes that he's been in love with her all this time. Go has a drink with Chase. Chase confesses his love about Kiriko. Go doesn't exactly want to hear anything about that, let alone the possibility that they could be friends. Brain enters the Central Intelligence Agency, hoping to find a way to help Medic. He remembers that this is the place where he copied his human, who was the lead director that never let go of his glasses and handkerchief. It's where Brain got his quirk. The voice of Krim Steinbelt is heard inside. Roymute 004 copied Krim. Shinnosuke gets a report on where Brain is. They run into Banno in 004. Before Krim died, Roymute 004 copied him and was helped by Banno. They attack, but Shinnosuke protects Brain, yelling at him to run away. Kiriko was caught in Shinnosuke's fight with Banno, so she got sent to the hospital. Chase asks her if she loves Shinnosuke. Kiriko acts as weird as Shinnosuke did. Chase walks off with tears in his eyes. He feels heartbreak. At the same time, Chase is glad that he's starting to get real emotions. Either way, he will protect the woman he loves, no matter what. Brain surrenders to Banno, leaving heartbroken that his best friend betrayed him. With all the promised numbers gathered, they search for the promised land to cause the next global freeze. The chief gets a tip from a Mr. X about where the promised land is located. The police stake it out while the Roymutes and commanders arrive. The commanders go into their evolved forms and use their power on a core that starts to kill Medic. Banno had a plan from the start to gather the commanders and brainwash Medic so she can be a scapegoat for more power. The riders and Roymutes are too injured to move. Brain had a bit of his toxin implanted into Medic, so he forces the core to destroy himself instead. This was Brain's own plan to return Medic to normal. He would pretend to side with Banno to get close and ultimately sacrifice himself for her. Brain says his final words, and his core fades away. Banno is left laughing as Medic and Heart cry over their fallen friend. Shinnosuke is enraged with what just happened. He and the other riders destroy Banno's Roymutes. Heart tells the riders to not kill Banno, because Banno will be killed by Heart and Medic instead. Roymute 004 tells them that this is not the promised land. It was just a trap set by Banno, who called himself Mr. X. Banno got more power and killed a commander. He has everything he needs. Roymute 004 self-destructs. Episode 45. What is a Roymute's last dream? Banno storms the Special Defense Building, the true promised land. It may be in peril, but the chief has some good news. Everyone gathers at a backup drive pit because a previous one was attacked. This drive pit was created by a group of volunteers led by Hayase, Shinnosuke's old partner. The Special Cases Unit's plan is about to begin. The riders transform and drive towards the building. Just want to point out that this footage here in episode 45 is footage that's used in the opening theme. I think that's pretty nice. The riders enter the building. Banno laughs at the riders, saying that Go is the worst thing he's ever created. Banno attacks Go, but Heart stops the attack. Heart and Medic ally themselves with the riders to fight Banno. He attacks Go and they fall into a parking lot. Chase follows. Banno is able to destroy Chase's driver, reverting him back to normal. Go is too injured to move and is about to be finished. Chase transforms into Machine Chaser and takes Banno's attack. Chase protected Go, but at the cost of his own life. Go holds on to him. Chase is okay with dying as long as he was able to protect the one that Kiriko loves. Chase hands Go his driver's license and his signal bike. They may not be friends, but Chase wants Go to have them. Chase pushes Go away and self-destructs while holding onto Banno. Kamen Rider Proto Drive, turned villain as Machine Chaser, turned back into an ally and a friend as Chase is killed in battle. Roymute Core 000 is destroyed. Go remembers times he's had with Chase. Banno has a lot of unforgivable sins, but what hurts the most is that he killed Go's friend. Go uses Chase's signal bike to become Chaser Mach. It's just a Mach armor with Chase's undersuit. It's a neat concept, but I wish they had a more unified color. Go uses the finisher with the help of Chase. Gold drives Roymute Host is destroyed, leaving only Banno as a belt. Kiriko finds Go and sees what has happened. Go regrets not telling Chase earlier that Chase was already his friend. Shinnosuke and the commanders have defeated the last of the Roymutes. The only ones left are Medic and Heart. Shinnosuke gets a call from Kiriko telling him that Chase is dead. It's up to Shinnosuke now. Before Shinnosuke can do anything, a slowdown is felt by everyone. A core was being powered to create something called Sigma. Now a second global freeze is happening. A heavily damaged Banno is planning his next move to recreate his data, but before he can, Go stands over him, holding Chase's axe. Banno is now gone for good, and Go is too tired to do anything else. Shinnosuke and Heart make it to the top of the building. Medic was left behind because she was too wounded. Sigma is born and begins to take humans as data. Shinnosuke and Heart plan to attack together, but Sigma is too strong. Shinnosuke is forced into henshin, and he's too weak to move. Sigma launches an attack, but Medic sacrifices herself to help Shinnosuke. Medic's core, 009, fades away. Shinnosuke stands. It's time for the final battle. Episode 47. Who will you entrust the future to, my friend? Shinnosuke and Heart use their full power to attack Sigma, destroying the core, stopping the global freeze, and returning people back to normal. Shinnosuke smiles and falls backwards off the building. He wakes up in a forest where he sees a black cloud. Kamen Rider Ghost appears behind him and introduces himself. Ghost fights off some Roymutes that are coming from the cloud. Shinnosuke wakes up from the ground. His encounter with Ghost was probably a dream. Heart sits next to Shinnosuke. Shinnosuke extends his hand out, but Heart pushes him away. He wants to settle things. Heart punches him. Their fight is one-sided as Shinnosuke doesn't do anything back. Heart may be the last Roymute, but Shinnosuke doesn't want to lose him either. Heart doesn't care. He's about to finish him. Kiriko throws Crim to Shinnosuke, but Shinnosuke doesn't transform. Heart is too wounded to even deliver the final punch. He wanted to die fighting. Heart knew his time was short, so Heart's final request is for Shinnosuke to remember him, to remember that a new species called Roymutes once lived on Earth. By the end, Heart made a new friend. A human friend. Roymute 002's core is now gone. 3:32 p.m. All 108 Roymutes have been exterminated. It seems that Crim's gone missing, but Shinnosuke tightens his tie. The Special Cases unit gathers at a destroyed drive pit. Crim, all the shift cars, and Drive's equipment is put near the Trideron. Crim is going to be stowed away beneath the earth. His human form is projected. Shinnosuke hands over the shift brace, and Crim says,
Goodbye.
A few days later, the Special Cases unit is disbanded, so everybody is going back to their normal lives. Oda makes a joke about how he's been working here for a year, but doesn't even have a desk. Go travels on foot, holding onto Chase's belongings, hoping he can revive Chase's core one day. Professor Harley meets up with Go, so they can travel together. Shinnosuke is slacking off today since he doesn't want to put away his desk just yet. He's on a drive with Kiriko when they get pulled over by a cop. The officer is Chase's human that he copied. His human is very stern and doesn't have any friends. Shinnosuke and Kiriko have a quick laugh about it. There's one thing left for Shinnosuke to say before they go back. The chief was assigned more cases and was eventually promoted to deputy commissioner. Rina won a Nobel Prize in physics. Oda was promoted to captain, then became chief of the 1st Division. Q became a popular novelist who wrote a story called Friendship with the Machines that went on to become a bestseller. Go travels the world in search of Chase. He becomes known as the phantom cameraman who takes pictures of nature wherever he goes. However, there is still one more case that the Special Cases unit needs to take on. Episode 48, Final Story, The Case of Ghost. It's been a few days since the Roymute incident. The world continues as normal. Shinnosuke is looking at a case about Neo's Shade. Solving it would be the closure he needed from a year ago. He has a picture of something Neo Shade stole. It's called an icon. Shinnosuke and Ota find the culprit that stole the icon. An invisible monster attacks them. It's revealed to be a cheap, blackish-looking mook type. Kamen Rider Ghost is here to fight it off. A cute orange spirit named Yurisen asked for the icon back. Ghost says that Shinnosuke should hold on to it for now since he could transform with it. And Kiriko got kidnapped. Shinnosuke chases down the icon thief, who's holding Kiriko hostage. The culprit turns out to be Neo Shade's leader. Shinnosuke looks at the icon, but he doesn't need to transform. He's been having thoughts of Krim, but now they're going to disappear. Even without Krim, Shinnosuke is a Kamen Rider, and a good cop. He shoots the leader's hand and arrests him. Yurisen grabs the icon. Ghost says that they'll meet Shinnosuke again. The next day, Shinnosuke gets a promotion. The whole Special Cases unit overhears and are happy for him. Kiriko is later transferred and becomes an investigator. She later marries Shinnosuke and has a son named Eiji. Shinnosuke gets promoted to police sergeant. Much like his father, Shinnosuke becomes an ace detective. That's the end of the season, but we're not done yet. 2 years later. Go returns to Japan, but the Special Cases unit needs to be reassembled. Koya Nishihori is at it again, so Go talks to Koya's daughter, Reiko Nishihori. They start to bond and Go tells the story of how he became Kamen Rider Mach. A few years ago in America, Go's friend was killed by a Roymute, and Go was left wounded. Professor Harley saved Go and trained him to use the Mach driver. Go learned that the Roymute was going to America, which led to Mach's debut in the show. Before going to Japan, Go practiced smiling to make Kiriko not worry, which is how he got his upbeat personality. It's a fake trait. Go finds Koya Nishihori and defeats him using a new form, Super Dead Heat. Go sees Reiko again and she gives him her first true smile. This was all part of a novel called Mach Saga, not to be confused with Drive Saga Mach. The novel, obviously, focuses on Go and what he's been doing after the show ended, along with its origin story. Unfortunately, the novel isn't translated. I merely gathered English notes about it and condensed them into a small summary. It does sound nice, but I can't really say anything more than that. What we do know does lead to some future events, such as our next V-Cinema, Drive Saga Heart. It's been 3 years since the battle with the Roymutes. Go falls asleep waiting for Rina and Q to finish their experiments on her Roymute body. They were working on trying to get Chase back. Go puts a replica drive driver on it. Their experiment seems to be a success, except it's not Chase that was revived, it was Heart. His body is back, although he's sharing it and his consciousness with Brain and Medic. Go is too tired to do anything and falls back to sleep. Heart is basically free now, so the first thing he does is take a bath. Of course, Medic was controlling Heart's body to do so. I can only guess why. Heart walks out on an airfield, for some reason. He says that a strange Roymute has been sighted, so it's their responsibility to find out what's going on. Then Heart is literally stopped by Ota. He has a controller that can stop Heart from moving. Heart doesn't recognize Ota at all. Ota wasn't exactly given the controller. He took it from Rina to show her that he can be a good fiancé. Yep, Ota and Rina are gonna get married. They had a tiny bit of romance building up towards the end of the show, so it didn't just come out of nowhere. Sort of. Heart henshins into a new suit. He's going to be the main detective of this case. So that means it's now a buddy cop movie with Heart and Ota. No, really, that's the middle part of this V-Cinema. Who asked for this? Oh, but wait, since Heart has a drive driver, he tries to henshin. But haha, they don't remember how drive looks like, so here's a visual gag. Sorry to rain on your parade. From exposition, we learn that Roymute 5886 has been running amok. 5,886 is the number you get if you add all numbers from 1 to 108. That's pretty clever. It also has pieces of several Roymute suits. The reason for this mix-up is because it was a glitch in the programming. Heart argues with Ota for a bit, then they storm off like an angry couple. Shinnosuke stands next to Heart. Heart couldn't protect a single fragile human. Shinnosuke scoffs. This is why Heart lost even with his old body. Humans are a lot stronger than Heart thinks. Heart and Ota get all buddy-buddy again, but Roymute 5886 is still out there. Brain discovers a way to defeat it, but doing so would destroy their consciousness. If Brain, Medic, and Heart combine the powers into the drive driver, they can become a Kamen Rider. They all agree that they must. Heart transforms into Kamen Rider Heart. I like the concept. They're using a shift car similar to Type Trideron, so it makes sense for the suit to be mostly of Trideron. You might think that I wouldn't like the helmet, but honestly, I don't mind it. Not even the horns bother me that much. It's the derpy looking grin, mouth, teeth piece. Everything else is fine. The shoulder pads and Heart's trench coat piece are a nice touch. Several people commented on my Henshin Jingles video saying that they liked Type Miracle's jingle, but I'm not entirely a fan of it. Ironic considering Type Triton is my favorite jingle of all time. I don't overall mind Type Miracle's Henshin sound, but it kind of cheapens the impact if it's almost 100% exactly the same as Type Triton. Actually, it sounds like a placeholder and incomplete, which is another thing I can say about the suit. Somewhat. All in all, I like Type Miracle except for that dumb grin. Heart defeats Roymute 5886, and as Brain said, their cores are gonna be destroyed. Ota calls Heart a true Kamen Rider. They share a laugh as Shinnosuke watches. Heart is glad he was able to make another human friend. Brain makes a joke about being his own Kamen Rider next time. The Roymute Core 002, 003, and 009 go into the great computer in the sky. The Roymute body is returned to Q and Rina. Everything is good again. Then Go notices that a new shift car moved on its own. I remember not liking this V-Cinema the first time I watched it, but rewatching it now makes me appreciate it a bit more. However, I don't think it does anything worth watching, minus a couple of scenes. If anything, this should have just been a movie about Heart, without Ota. Even then, Heart learning that humans are strong seems pointless. I guess Kamen Rider Heart was cool, but it didn't need a movie. But just because this movie isn't my thing, doesn't mean that it's not objectively good enough to watch for you. After all, there is more Heart, Brain, and Medic with some entertaining scenes, so if you want to watch it, then go for it. Now to our final movie, Drive Saga Mach. Go is at a courthouse. He talks about his relationship with Raiko Nishihori. They've been developing feelings after all these years, so they've been waiting for each other. Raiko was sentenced to a few years in prison, and now it's time for her to be released. Go tries to make a flashy entrance for her, but it's too much, and Raiko runs off. Kiriko basically tells him to grow up and not hide behind a mask. Baby AJ is here too. Hope he doesn't grow up to be killed by a Roymute. Go hasn't heard from Raiko since last night, so he wonders what to do. Raiko is under suspicion of murder, so she and Go are on the run together. I don't think Chase would tell him to go for it here. Raiko explains that Go told her to meet with him last night, but she was tricked. It wasn't Go. It was Koya Nishihori, her dad. Koya made a child murder her own dad, so Koya is making Raiko predict the next victims before they die. It's a game to him. He's making daughters kill their dads like how Raiko betrayed Koya. Go wants to help, but Raiko isn't accepting it. She's the daughter of a monster and wants it all to end. Raiko knocks out Go and leaves him on the ground. He dreams of Chase waking him up. In reality, it's Chase's human, named Kano. In the Mach novel, Kano officially became part of the Special Cases unit, and they became friends, so this is a nice continuity nod. Shinnosuke believed in Raiko, so he pulled a few strings and was able to get the Mach gear back. Go punches Kano. Raiko's about to kill herself, so any police involvement would scare her off. Kano would have understood. He had one more thing to give Go, but he already drove away. Go was able to track down the next victim. Daughters haven't been killing their fathers. It was Koya. Raiko begs Koya not to kill him, but he already has Go hanging. Go understands how Raiko feels. Both of their fathers were monsters. If Go can change, then so can she. Koya pulls Go by the feet, snapping his neck. Raiko picks up Go's weapon and shoots him down. Go is barely hanging on to life. He uses the Mach driver and transforms into Kamen Rider Mach once more, fighting a newly evolved Koya. Chase drives into the warehouse to give Go a brand new toy, the black and white shift car. With it, Go transforms into Kamen Rider Mach Chaser. A lot of people don't like this suit, and I can see why. The colors are a weird combination, and it's back to the Chaser Mach form that Go used in his fight against Bano. Although, I personally quite like it. The addition of a really nice blue and gray makes it easier for me to digest. Honestly, this is how the Chaser Mach form should have looked like, but that's just me. Go destroys Roymute 005's core for good. Koya Nishihori is finally dead. Go and Raiko are about to hug until Kano arrests Go for assaulting a police officer. Go and Raiko sit next to each other on a bench. They hold hands and walk off. Shinnosuke watches them, saying that people really can change. Go sits on his bike, then Raiko kisses him. Go has found his answer. Much like Drive Saga Heart, I didn't like this at first, but again, I grew to appreciate it. I still think this mock movie is kind of boring, but Go and Raiko's relationship makes up for everything. That alone makes this my second favorite Drive movie behind Surprise Future. They're just so cute together and they understand each other. Let them hug and be glad that they don't have to invite their dads to the wedding. Shinnosuke and Kiriko, nah, push that aside for Go and Raiko. I also really liked how their connections to the mock novel. That's really cool and they don't shove it in your face. I usually say that a throwaway line is all you need, and that's what I got. A few lines about how Go remembers Kano from the Special Cases unit. I can recommend Drive Saga Mock. Go and Raiko are so cute.
Brain wakes up in an unfamiliar place, surrounded by Mu, or nothing. Those who were defeated by writers in the past. He gets saved by a very handsome and recognizable scientist, though it seems like Brain was given a driver. It appears that he was revived in the first place because he was the weakest looking commander in the history of Kamen Rider. The professor is killed, but first he explains that he chose Brain because this new enemy are the people that Brain hates the most. The ones who think everyone is expendable. With his newfound contentment, Brain transforms. Ooh, I love that suit. Definitely better than Kamen Rider Heart. After the battle, Brain wakes up next to Heart and Medic, who don't believe that he became a Kamen Rider. More importantly, they're not sure how their data returned. Then we see Go and a project to create new cores. This special is Drive Saga Kamen Rider Brain, created to celebrate the end of the Heisei era. I don't normally make addendums like this unless I remake the whole video, but I made an exception for this since it is officially part of the Drive Saga and doesn't add to a certain future season's continuity. I think the special is cute? It's only 2 episodes and about 20 minutes long combined, so it's a neat little watch. Not necessary whatsoever, but it's nice. And with that, Kamen Rider Drive season has officially ended. Thank you Overtime, and thank you TV Nihon for subbing an amazing series.
Hello, Marcos. These are my thoughts on Kamen Rider Drive. I watched Drive a few years after it came out, and I watched it probably quicker than any other season. I finished it in maybe like a week, and I loved it. It is probably my favorite season to date. Originally, I didn't know if I was gonna like it, just because the suit at first didn't gel with me, but the more I watched it, the more I enjoyed said suit. One of my favorite parts about the season was the aspect of a secret identity. They don't really do a whole lot of that in Toku, let alone Rider. He tried very hard to keep his secret identity, and that was really cool because it led to a really interesting reveal and plot point and revelation when he finally did reveal himself to the world. It was impactful because they built that up for so long. Drive also introduced my number one favorite suit in all of Rider, Drive Type Dead Heat. I love that suit. I don't even know what it is about it, but it gels with me so well. It was my first figure art because I love that suit so much. Then it also introduces my favorite writer, which is Chaser, Kamen Rider Chaser. I love Chase. Chase is fantastic. Just the struggle between realizing what you truly are and what you're meant to be and finding out that they're two different things, that's really, really cool. Struggling for survival with your family and then standing by your friends because of what they believe in. That was Chase's whole aspect, and that final fight against Gold Drive with Mach, I actually cried. I legitimately cried. Drive is a great season. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it, as much as my opinion means. It's not really like any other season, or at least any other season that I've seen, and I don't know exactly what that is. Maybe it's the ideology of the Droid Nudes. Maybe it's the willpower of Shinnosuke. I don't know, but it's good stuff. Oh, and Drive Type Technic is the worst suit in all of Kamen Rider. You can follow me on Twitter at ScreeTuts2000. Can we try to get me to 100 followers? Okay, thanks. Shout out to Marcos for letting me be in his videos. ProtoDubs is the worst for thinking Technic is a good suit. Okay, bye.
Thanks for that, Hunter. Before we continue, one of the most popular comments I get on these videos is where to watch Kamen Rider. Currently, there are no official Western releases, so until then, check the description. And you didn't hear this from me. Thank you, Shetland.
Just because there's not a lot to say doesn't mean it's not good. I had that on the back of my mind while writing this script. Why? Because despite talking for 2 hours straight, there was still a lot I didn't go over. The show up to episode 25 doesn't have much story. I could even argue that there isn't a real story until episode 38. A controversial opinion, I know, but let's go over the details. Drive uses a 2-episode structure, where a story is told in one and then ends in the next episode. It's what everyone who watches Toku knows, and something that a new watcher can get used to very quickly. I've said that characters are pushed more early on. For example, episode 3 and 4 have Shinnosuke investigate women that have been disappearing. The Roimute of the week in those episodes just so happen to be the same Roimute that attacked Kiriko during the global freeze. That Roimute is the reason why Kiriko doesn't smile very often. It's an interesting case that intertwines with an interesting backstory of a character. It's like that for a long time. Some could say that it's structured like that until the end. This is not a bad thing. I was sharing my thoughts about Drive with my friend Dallas, and he put it best. Kamen Rider Drive is consistently interesting from start to finish. I didn't think learning about Kiriko's smile wasn't necessary. I didn't mind that a new toy got shilled every episode, and I definitely didn't mind that a good majority of Drive could technically count as filler. It's good filler. That's probably one of the most ironic things I'll ever say, considering that season can drag for me when it comes to filler content. What makes Drive different is that it's very tight with its writing, for the most part. For one, Nishihori returns every once in a while outside of specials. He's brought up during a few cases without seeming forced in. He's a psychologist that learned about criminals, so it's not surprising that he would be talked about. Go's cameo in Drive X Gaim is given an explanation. We learn everything we need to know about Crim throughout the season rather than it being told in a Crim-focused episode. Each member of the Special Cases unit has a lengthy backstory, except for the chief for some reason. Q has a couple of episodes focused on him and how he's been housing a Roimute for a while, even having his copy go to work for him. What makes it tragic is how the Roimute actually wanted to live among humans without any wrongdoings, but was killed because that's just how it is in this battle. A regular mook-like Roimute of all things has a story worth caring about. All of this makes Drive feel more, for the lack of a better word, alive. The show is interesting because it's alive and constantly moving. Where it's going, no one knows, but it has a full tank and it's gonna go somewhere. I'm proud of it, even if it goes off-road for no reason. Metaphors aside, I do have valid criticisms towards Drive, some of which I'll bring up later. I said the writing is tight, for the most part. That, for the most part, is referring to how some things are brought up then dropped almost immediately with no consequence. We know that the Roimute commanders copied specific humans. The only one we get any time with is Medic's human, but she's basically out of commission for a whole episode. Alright, maybe we don't need to know about them, but with how much backstory and explanation for everything is in this season, it seems rather odd to have very little about them. Oh yeah, remember how Roimute 004 copied Crim? That sure amounted to a lot. In the details, having a copied Crim meant that 004 had more knowledge on his technology. Bono knew a lot too, so what was the point? 004 could have copied some other scientist and it wouldn't have made a difference. Those mass-produced drivers were pretty cool. We even had a bit of a tease with Kamen Rider June, but that's all it was, a tease. Q and Rina tried to make more, but they were destroyed. Gee, that sure was important. You know how we're told that Shinnosuke is a slacker? We sure saw that a lot, right? Oh, but what about Kiriko's boots? They got so worn out by the end of the show. At one point, when Chase was reprogrammed, Medic got replacement Roimute sacked as Grim Reapers. Why didn't I talk about it? Because it didn't mean anything to the story. I guess they looked cool. Yay? The Roimutes were officially named mechanical life forms since the police couldn't say the word Roimute. Not that it mattered in the long run. There aren't too many instances like these, but when they happen, I notice them because, again, we're told quite literally everything we need to know, so not having a payoff feels jarring. In the end, they're not a big deal considering they come and go with no impact to the story. It's just strange to include them for nothing. My own personal nitpick is how Shinnosuke always wears the shift brace, carries around Crim, and drives the most out-of-place car in this universe, but no one seems to know that he's a Kamen Rider. I know, suspension of disbelief and all, but I find it more funny than anything. I like to think of Drive as a 3-act structure. In the beginning, it's a Special Cases unit versus the Roimudes, then it becomes a unit versus evolved Roimudes, and finally, Drive versus Banno. It's just what I think, not like it was said anywhere, it's official, or other people said it either. I've already talked your ears off about early Drive, so let's talk about the Special Cases unit versus the evolved Roimudes, which starts at episode 25. This is a general name, you can include Nira and Mikage in this act. It focuses on how the Roimu commanders get their ultimate evolutions, along with Shinnosuke figuring out the death of his father. One thing that bothers me is how fast this act starts. Before episode 25 was Type Tokujo, a 4-part special that had some pretty big answers towards the future, especially with Banno and how the Special Cases Department got involved. Then Nira gets thrown in, Shinnosuke gets stressed about hiding his identity, which came out of nowhere by the way, stuff about Chase defecting from the Roimudes, humans being fused with other Roimudes, the public finding out about the Kamen Riders, whoa, calm down. Where was all this during the first 25 episodes? Chase's struggles were hinted at after Brain revealed he was Proto Drive, but everything else, what the heck guys? Not to mention that the episode after this is Kamen Rider Chase's debut. Then we get more story about Go's father being Banno, Go trying to get rid of Chase, and the robbery that Isuke was in. It went 0 to 100 real fast, which bothers me more than it should. It's a good thing that this arc is where the story picks up, especially since Shinnosuke gets Type Trideron and finds out that Nira killed his father. Again, it starts fast, but I got over it with how good things get. The third and most notable act is Drive vs. Banno. Everything leads up to this. Banno was brought up throughout the season and specials, but now we actually get to meet him, and he is one of the best villains in Toku to me. That statement is incredibly ironic considering he is also one of the most generic power-hungry villains. I'll talk about it more in detail when we get to the characters. This arc, though, is fantastic. Stakes are high, villains become allies, no one is safe from being killed, side characters have more importance to fight this threat, and Shinnosuke is able to get closure for the past year. And that's all I want to say. Remember, it's still good. I would happily watch through all of Drive just to get here. Episodic or not, Drive's small story is fantastic. Its smaller stories that are kept within 2-episode arcs are worth watching. I wouldn't even say to skip any since they're that good. It's fun to see how Shinnosuke is able to piece things together. It's fun to see interactions between each character, minor or otherwise. It's fun to be on the edge of your seat wondering if Heart will actually be able to take someone out. If there's one way I can describe Drive's story, is that it's fun. Gaim had the destruction of Japan. Drive had the world being frozen. Then a talking belt tells a police officer to wear a red tire on his chest. And yet, Drive can be more serious than other gritty seasons. And even stranger, the fun of Drive isn't the happy-go-lucky type. It's all fun and games until your allies die in battle, or until you're confronted by your dad's killer. Drive's way of telling a story is also seen in its specials and movies. The continuity between everything Drive-related is phenomenal, and again, it's fun. It doesn't have to be the happy-go-lucky type of fun. It's enjoyable.
What's made even better is that the head writer of this season was Riku Sanjo, who wrote for Kamen Rider Double, another one of my favorites. You can kinda tell since some ideas are recycled and the humor is somewhat similar, but man, Drive's story is great in almost every aspect. Quick fun fact, Riku Sanjo wrote a bit for Bima Satria Garuda X. It's a good show, so please check it out too. I brought up some of the music before, but I really want to talk about it in its own section. It is really good. I'm actually surprised the soundtrack isn't talked about a bit more. I'd even say it's underrated. The suites like Chaser and Drive are phenomenal. The insert themes are among my favorites in the whole series, even the ones that you probably forgot about like Don't Lose Your Mind. Mach's theme, Full Throttle, is still in my head to this day. And let's not forget Spinning Wheel, where all three writers sing about, well, I'll have you piece that one together. And the theme from Surprise Future is actually in my top 10, so yeah, Drive's music is great. Please listen to its OST and insert themes. And yes, I read it 100 times by now. Krim is Japanese Tony Stark, Type Technic is a bootleg Transformer, and Gold Drive is Reverse Flash. Thank you. Alright, let's get to the characters.
We'll start with our true heroes, the shift cars. In all seriousness, I didn't bring this up, but they're sentient and can speak in their own car-honking language. Weirdly enough, some have distinctive personalities while the rest are toy cars. The most notable one is in episode 4. Not only did Kiriko have a backstory with the Roymute of the Week, but Dream Vegas wants revenge since his best friend, Dimension Cab, was brutally injured by the Roymute. That's pretty good character development coming from a plastic toy. Even more development than Shinnosuke had at the time. But as I said before, a lot of other shift cars are just there to sell toys. They're cute and do have some use aside from being sold, so there's that. On to our actual hero, Shinnosuke Tamari. He's one of my favorite leads of all time, even outside of Tokusatsu. He has that stern police officer personality, but isn't afraid to act a little goofy and even play hooky. However, he's serious when he needs to be, contrasted to Go. Shinnosuke is the definition of a Kamen Rider, but he has the traits that make him stand out. He always wants to do right and protect everyone he can. There is one moment that I wanted to bring up. Towards the end of the Yago Special, Shinnosuke feels like giving up. After seeing your friends die over and over, wouldn't you think it might be time to stop? You want to say no. I know you do. Why would you want to? A hero wouldn't give up, right? Shinnosuke looks down and hesitates, then says that maybe they do need to stop. That is when I fell in love with this character. A main character can be perfect to a fault, others can be straight up unlikable, while characters like Shinnosuke can feel real. A true Kamen Rider keeps going when the going gets tough, but I think even a Kamen Rider would reconsider after seeing the people around them die constantly in a short amount of time. Takumi lost everything and look what his decision was at the end. Shinnosuke is only human, and that's what makes a good protagonist. Outside of the special, Shinnosuke is still heroic, but with a sense of humanity that makes him connect better with others, even when the world seems against him. Shinnosuke was marked as a fugitive a couple of times, but still went forward, not to prove his own innocence, but to just save people. He has those inner struggles ever since he caused his partner to be out of commission. By the end of the show, it may seem that Shinnosuke hasn't changed all that much, but he was certainly a stepping stone for others to get better. He did mature after a year and always helped when he could. His relationship with Kiriko blossomed after all this time without feeling forced. Shinnosuke is there for his friends and his friends are there for him.
I hope his actor does come back for more. Actually, I wonder where Shinnosuke is at the moment. Next thing you know, Shinnosuke is going to become a Pokemon trainer too. Oh my gosh.
Let's get to Kiriko. I'd say she's a few steps above the typical Rider girl. Kiriko helps Shinnosuke in every case, but in an odd way, still seems like she's part of the background. I like how Kiriko was given more screen time than most, and was even given a power-up, despite it not amounting to much. Unlike female leads in other shows, Kiriko is important outside of her connections to certain people. Without her, a lot of investigations would go nowhere. However, I feel that more could have been done with her. Go had more struggles with Banno than Kiriko did, which is weird when Kiriko is the older sibling and has more memories of her dad. The most we get from Kiriko is that she didn't trust Banno from the start. Nothing else. Meanwhile, Go is constantly conflicted and even confronts Banno several times. See how this is starting to fall apart now that I'm mentioning Go and Banno during Kiriko's portion? That's my biggest problem. Kiriko is important. She has so much going for her. She has more screen time than most. She helps so many people. And yet, it still feels that others play a bigger role while she's relegated to the background. Why would you do that? She's so much better than other characters, but we can't even get a scene of her talking to her own dad. I did say that she's a few steps above the typical female lead, but what does that amount to when we have the Kamen Riders to watch? This is something that I didn't want to bring up, but I guess I should say it to prove my point. Should Kiriko have been a Kamen Rider? This is my honest answer. Tumblr, if you're listening, I'm half sorry. Yes, but it wouldn't have mattered in the end, so it becomes a moot question. If Kiriko did become a Kamen Rider, then she still wouldn't have gotten the spotlight she deserves. Need I bring up Kamen Rider Poppy from X-Aid? A female lead who became a Kamen Rider and didn't use it much? Kiriko would have gotten the same fate. My point still stands. There is more that could have been done for Kiriko to be the best female lead possible. She probably is the best in Kamen Rider, but the best possible? We got a long way to go for that. At least I went through this without bringing up those pointless boots that she only used twice. Kiriko is a good character. I just wish her full potential was seen. It's only natural to talk about the next Shijima sibling, Go. I like him. A lot. His fun demeanor made an already fun show even better, and he did lighten up the mood during the cop dramas. I used to think that his transition to being more serious felt a bit forced and a bit too quick. Then I realized, if my dad created machines to cause a worldwide panic, then I might be a bit angered at my dad too. There was one line where Go said that Drive protects people while Mach eradicates Roymutes. It all clicked for me. Go wanted to be with his family again, which is why he trusted Bano, but then realized that this can't be the case. Go needs to destroy the Roymutes, and his father. It's all fun and games until your dad decides to create a second global freeze. And still, Go is human. He fell in love with Raiko, and now they both can cope with their fathers being horrible people. What I found even more mind-blowing is how Go isn't a naturally happy guy. He's very outgoing and energetic, specifically for Kiriko. Go cares for her like how she cares for him. There's a lot more between the lines than you think. One detail I absolutely loved was during Drive Saga Mach. Normally, Go says his catchphrase no matter what the situation is. It could be a battle of life and death, but Go would still yell it out with glee. He didn't when he turned back into Mach to fight Nishihori. It was time to grow up. However, he still had a connection to Chase and wanted things to go back to how they were. It's okay to be goofy once in a while. So when Go became Mach Chaser, he did say the good old Go catchphrase. Kids TV show or not, reading too much between the lines or not, Go is a fantastic character, and does deserve to be called a Kamen Rider. Speaking of being called a Kamen Rider, Chase is a strange one. He's a machine that looks like a human, but he has more heart than most. That sounded better in my head, but now it's coming off as cheesy. Chase seemed like a typical rival at first, but he grew as the show went on. There were a few times where he got reprogrammed, but he fought with what was inside of him. That will to protect humans was overridden, and Chase still felt the need to save others. He didn't know which side he wanted to fight for, but ultimately chose to become a Kamen Rider again. Chase never asked for much. He just did what was right. If he couldn't have natural emotion, he would still try anyway on his own. Chase felt love and was heartbroken. Chase protected Go even after Go bluntly said that he could never trust a Roymute. It's poetic, really. I don't think there's any way I could change Chase. He's fine just the way he is. The side characters in the Special Cases unit are good. As I said before, they all have their own backstory and episodes that focus on them. I don't want to say any more than that since I do like to keep some things secret to incentivize you to actually watch the season. Also, Q is my favorite of the unit. He kinda reminds me of me. Now to our villains. Let's start with the Roymutes in general. As much as I like to talk about them, I think the Roymutes are only passable. They do your typical villain stuff, but their motive is to evolve and survive. They really do seem like a brand new species that just want to live, but you know, it's us versus them. The Roymute commanders are going to be weird to talk about. I've said this before outside this video, but I'll keep saying it and stick by it. They don't do anything in early episodes. Heart and Brain just stand around, say how great the Roymute of the week is, and send out Chase sometimes. We get a sliver of background for Heart, and that's it. Medic's debut didn't seem like a big deal either, since she also just stands around saying how great Heart is and sends out Chase sometimes. We're told that she's a healer, but she doesn't do it that often. Although she does reprogram Chase a couple of times. Woo. Episode 25 onward is where they really shine. Their true characters come through as Roymute numbers begin to dwindle, so they're forced to take matters into their own hands, with some inner conflict along the way. Heart is one of the most charismatic leaders we've had, so at least having a presence is good to push for villains. He truly cares for the Roymute since he always talks about how they're friends. Heart would even ignore Medic for destroying them on her own. In a way, I'm rooting for Heart to succeed just because of how passionate he is towards his kind. Brain is quirky since he gets jealous over Medic. I love how Brain is, well, smart and is usually the advisor. You can see how loyal he is to the end. Kinda wish he was there for the final battle, but he was great either way. Medic is the weakest of the commanders for me since all she does is fawn over Heart-sama. I mean, her bar is still high. I like how her human's love is what translated into her love for Heart. Then she decides to sacrifice herself to help Shinnosuke. The Romy commanders are so cool. It's a shame they really didn't do anything in the beginning, but at least they became a Kamen Rider. Just want to bring up Nira real quick. He's an asshole, which makes her a good villain. Hope he rots in jail. And finally, Bono. He makes Nira seem like Roymu Jesus. Bono is such an asshole, and he doesn't need a motive because he's just the villain you love to hate. Maybe he woke up on the wrong side of the bed and decided to cause a mass genocide. I would believe it. Bono betrays Go's trust, calls him the worst thing he's ever created, steals Krim's lifelong inventions, causes the global freeze just to get a host body, tortured Heart for fun, killed Chase, killed Brain, he attempted to kill Medic.
He poisoned our water supply, burned our crops, and delivered a plague unto our houses!
Bono is a villain purely by how evil he can be. It works because we actually see him doing these things instead of just being told that he's a villain. I love Bono, but I hate him so much, and that's a good thing. And now we finally reach the end, with my final thoughts. I watched Drive as it aired and thought it was a good show. I didn't think it was mind-blowing and it didn't change my life, but it was still worth watching every week. Rewatching it for History of Kamen Rider makes me appreciate it more than I ever have before. Ever since I finished watching, I've been thinking about it non-stop, and the more I do think about it, the more I start to like it. Sure, there are flaws, but overall, Drive is one of those shows that grows on you, if it hasn't already grabbed your heart by episode 1. If you can get past the red tire on the chest, I'd say Drive is one of the best seasons to start with Kamen Rider. It has every element that makes a Kamen Rider along with a few unique traits. Kamen Rider Drive is a fantastic show. I don't think I need to say anything more than that. Craig B, if you're listening, thank you for requesting this one on Patreon. I already like Drive, but rewatching it makes me love the show even more. Thanks for watching. You can support us by joining our membership on YouTube, and you get some neat little perks such as being on our Discord server with some exclusive channels. And you do get a shout out. Well, a random chance of getting a shout out. So Matthew Patrick, thank you for supporting us. And with that, I'll say my little send off. With all that being said, I'll see you guys next time for our lives to burn bright with Kamen Rider Ghost. Hey, can't wait to see where this one takes us.
Maybe he isn't as stupid as I think he is.
Hey, Kiriko, look! Golden shower!
I hate you.
Derive! Type Formula! Nice drive!